right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's the Heather Marie Show. All right. So today, my special guest is Julius Kelly. Welcome to the Heather Marie Show. Can you unmute your mic? There
Okay,
you
let's rewind that. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Awesome to be here. That's what I said when it was muted. Uh, I'm not used to doing these much. So thank you so much for having me. Why is it you always want to get some attention as soon as somebody else is? I don't know if you saw that little doggy here wanted to get a little bit of attention too. Interesting. So how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I got my water. I stay water strapped all the
Me
time.
too. Look, me too. I'm with the spring water.
You do the spring. I do. What is this? Just purified drinking. Kroger status.
Okay, so look, I'm gonna need you. It's 2025. I'm gonna need you to switch up for your health benefits, and I'm gonna need you to get the spring water. I'm gonna tell you why. The spring water
Put
has
some
got
spring
all
in
the
my step.
natural. Well, look. It gives you all the trace minerals. It comes from an actual spring from the ground. So all the minerals and stuff that you need in the water, it has. And if it's real spring water, it doesn't go through the filtration process, so they don't have to add anything to it for a taste or anything. So it's the best possible.
Gotcha.
And if you didn't know, it's the true alkaline water. So the alkaline water that's in the store, they separate with electrolysis. It's bad for your kidneys. It's bad if you got sickle cell. It's really, really not healthy for you.
And it tastes
No.
weird too.
Yes. And so, but if you get any brand of spring water, you have to check the source. But that's the one that's actually the true alkaline water that you want for your body. It's the best thing that you can get next to the H2O H3O2
H3O2.
plant
I think
water,
I've seen. I know what you're talking about
like
now.
like
Yes.
coconut water, cucumber water, like the plant waters. When you
Gotcha.
make plant waters, yeah.
Gotcha. I might. I remember I used to drink spring water. I just didn't like the taste. And then, yeah.
You
But
may
the
not.
alkaline water is worse. I don't
Well, my
like.
favorite's Ozarka. I'm not sponsored or anything, but that's the one that I like. If I don't have that, I'll get Brookshire's. You know what I mean? There's other brands too. Actually, I like Whole Foods water too. If it's the I can just get the spring water. And then look at the
As long
source
as
where
it's
it's at.
spring.
Spring. And check your source, but check the source because the source counts. Like where is your spring water source?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Make sure it's the
As long as
spring water
it's Sierra
source
Spring.
and not like what they consider a well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I never even looked. I just know it tastes good. It tastes good, and
And
it
bless
keeps
your
me
water. Like
hydrated.
put your good vibes in there. Be like, I'm thankful. I'm abundant. I feel at peace. I feel happy. Kind of stuff. Bless your water and then drink it.
No, you literally just came in like an hour ago. You're not going to be running in and out. So sorry. The dog is kind of like a child who always just wants to go outside. Calm down. Calm down. All right. I do apologize immensely for interrupting this. She was chill, quiet for a minute. Let me go ahead, let her outside because I have a backbone. And when I say you're not going outside, I let her outside anyway. Give me just 1 second. I do apologize immensely about this. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. We also have Ninja in the building. Hey, Ninja.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, I'm glad to have you on the Heather Marie Show again.
Yeah. It's dope.
Yeah, we're having a great day so far. It's my son's birthday. He's 8 years old. We've got some
Oh, happy
cupcakes.
birthday!
Okay.
Yes.
I'm the tech
Hey,
guy. I'm
Ninja.
sorry. We had some technical difficulties.
No, please. Please.
No. The
No.
tech. I'm a tech guy. We're gonna take care of it. We're gonna take care of these technical difficulties right now.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got some people for tech help. That's always great when that happens.
That's perfect. You gotta have backup.
Right.
Yes, it doesn't have his stuff in a line and ready. No, she's been pretty chill the rest of the day, and she just now decided she felt like doing some fuck shit.
All right, so we're doing an interview and we're talking to you, Julius Kelly, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Uh First thing about myself, I'm not great at talking about myself. I'm more so I respond to a lot of stuff, but what about me? Um,
Okay, so let's say who you are, and kind of like where you're from and what you do. I know that you've done comedy, and that's
mhm.
something that we're going to talk about. We also know that you have some dealings with sickle cell, so that's something also that we want to definitely touch
Oh
on.
yeah,
Part of who you are, and so maybe those are kind of guidelines of things we want to talk about. Where are you from, Julius?
most definitely. Let's get it. So I'm Julius Kelly. I'm from Cali. I'm from born and raised California, but not like the good part that everybody knows about. More so like the desert that's barely on the map. I'm from a place called Victimville or Victorville. We live here. We just call it Victimville. Um, and all my life, with the exception of a little bit of time I spent in North Carolina. Um, I've done quite a bit of stand up comedy, and I've been telling some friends about it lately. Like I just miss it. I don't know if you had like you have goals and you go towards them. Like you do your music, you have this podcast, you have your projects you work on, um, and how is it? How are those going for you as well?
Well, I mean, things are going well, but there's a lot of projects. There's different things I do. I have my own record label.
Mm.
I'm an artist. I sing and I rap. I'm a composer. I'm writing a book. I just found some people that are going to help me do the documentary for sickle cell. I'm working on a compilation CD for that. I'm actually looking for people to be on the compilation CD. I'm also working on putting on my own album. I'm doing collaborations. I've recently released 2 songs. So I did a track with Trill Will and CCC Anthony called Shake It. I also did another song I'm featured on with Broken Sword. And so he's a lyrical
Mm.
hip hop artist. And that dropped about last month. So I've been trying to drop like a song each month. That's something new I'm kind of aiming towards. So
How long you been doing
back in
that?
February. I dropped one in February. Oh no, and I dropped one in January, and I dropped one in February. So I may have missed the March one, but we're trying to roughly every 30 days. I'm trying to put out a new song or a collaboration with somebody. So I do have something I'm working on right now with an artist, an R&B artist, and then I have a couple tracks I'm working on with Clinton Kelly as well. Um,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. My current project is actually because I don't know if you guys talk a lot about mental health, but ADHD, right?
Yes.
It used to be that thing that was just a lot of parents would say, "Oh yeah, my kid has ADHD," and because they did that, like we just started thinking, "Oh, ADHD just means your kid's bad." Like they don't pay attention and shit. But I noticed that there were a lot of issues that I had with trying to focus on a project and things like that. So more recently, I actually went to the psychiatrist because I was like, hey, something's really wrong. I can't get shit done. So yeah, I was diagnosed with that, and I didn't even want to call it that, or like I didn't want to self-diagnose. When I talked to my doctor, I was like, yeah, I think I might be, but I don't want to call it until I know what's actually going on. So I said all that to say one of the one of the projects I'm working on is actually a podcast. It's a scripted audio series called Blunder the Weather. It's a comedy drama podcast that I've been working on for a long time, and now I'm just starting to get my footing back on it. It's about a dude that finds out he has the ability to control wind and rain. And it
That's
goes more into yeah, and it goes. I'm writing it to where it goes more into just how like it affects his body and like just his well-being, his relationships, and things like that. So I have an awesome cast that's doing it. The first episode is already out on Spotify, which I should have probably given you the information for, and I'll give it to you sometime during this interview. Um, I'm also trying to get back to stand-up comedy because, like I said before, I love stand-up comedy. Have you ever dipped your toe in that yet?
kind of okay. So there's a funny story behind that. I kind of did. So in your 20s when you're kind of
Yeah.
brokish, You know what I mean? And you don't really have the money to do that. So they would have these open mic nights at the comedy club. In order to get in, somebody would have to go up there. And I'm kind of, I can't be comical when I want to. I do voiceovers, I do different things. Or if I just tell a story about struggles I've had to go with, people could definitely find comedy in that. Probably, and also a sense of relief in finding that they probably have been through some similar things. Or like, dang, how did you really go through that? You really did out of that? I'm like, oh yeah, I did that. Like for real. Like, yeah, just you could pick anything, kids, food, like anything, struggles, like starting over, going through divorce, anything. You can pick divorce. What do you want to pick? Like, pick a subject. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's the beauty of comedy. You can take some of the darkest stuff or the worst shit that ever happened and just make people laugh at you, make them laugh with you, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you walk off. Yeah, you feel like it's a form of giving back. When I was younger and things like that, I had a bad habit of apocalypse. I see that. Well, let's hit up on that in a sec. When I was younger, I had a really bad habit of always just doing for everyone and giving, and it was always monetary. Like, oh, you need money, let me give this out. And it was at the sacrifice of self. And I found comedy began to be, it was that balance that I needed. It filled that void of giving to people without having to put my own well-being and sacrificing. And it's and a lot of comedies you meet or comedians you meet, they're just, a lot of them are diagnosed with depression, and other things, and that's their therapy. It's phenomenal to even be around a lot of comedians. It's just very interesting. Do you ever go to the comments? I'm looking at one that's really interesting by Apocalypse.
Let's see what Apocalypse says. We do. I don't know why I can't see. Why I'm not seeing them. That's really weird.
I'll read it out for you. I got diagnosed. Apocalypse says, I got diagnosed at 33 with severe ADHD. They put me on Adderall and everything. I have like 30 unfinished albums. I know the struggle, man. It sucks. Ideas galore, but not easy to follow up. I started school for music, dropped out, had bought like $200 worth of books, but never read them. Went hypomanic and all kind of crazy stuff. ADHD is real, but also the term gets thrown around a lot. 100%. It's like a lot of terms where the people just throw it out as a convenience thing. And it sucks because it does start to make people think, oh, it's not that serious. Oh, everybody got it. And it's a serious thing if you really deal with it.
Oh, I do. I have kids with it. When I was in high school, I went through that. But for me, I make lists. I have pen and paper. Yeah. I'm like, so the best advice I could give is you want to pick a pen and a paper for everyone that's got it, and you want to write a list. You manifest your list. You check off your list. If you don't complete the list, so what? Just carry it over to the next day for your list. You gotta. If you have your list, you can always go back to that list. You can go back to any book that you have for years, and you put it in there. So if you're a comedian, maybe you'll have your your jokes in there or ideas for jokes. You have that on certain pages. You'll have your bill on another page. You have your checklist on there, and then your checklist is also like your manifesting. So everything that you want to
private right now.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt you, but
you're good. Yeah, it happens a lot. Hold on, let me see.
Okay.
Yeah, that happens all the time. I tried to view that earlier, and it didn't want to get me. So I'll see what I can do for that. It happens a lot sometimes.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. It's like it'd be like, oh, technical difficulties. That's all it is. Technical.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's a part of streaming in a general sense. I used to also do video game streaming, and every stream something happened. No matter what you have it set to, just something has to happen. I think it's a rule. The universe is out to make it happen.
Right. Definitely. But yeah, the ADD thing. So what I would say is, yeah, that's what I would say. A lot of people are like, oh, medication. I think that if people have, I don't want to say severe behavior, but kind of if you have if the behavior is so much that you can't function as what's normal for you, then those are there's only a few people that would actually need that. Most people don't need that. Most people need someone that they can talk to. They need to get a sense of like what's reality for them and then how other people would view those things. And then that will help them to organize and categorize things on their own. Because people, the
Yeah.
best thing is people don't have a concept of what it's like for other people. I think that's what that is. And you create your own reality. So that's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. For ADD, that's always like, oh, you create your own reality. But other people may not be on that. You create your own reality. So if they're not, you know what I mean? Then you know what I mean? They're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like this, but it's like, no, for us, it's like this. This is what we do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
That's
different.
100% true. And when I did talk to a therapist about it, because I finally, like, at one point, I was just like, look, I don't go to the doctor. I haven't seen a psychiatrist. Like, I'm not taking care of my health, mental or physical. I need to check this stuff out. And so a therapist, I talked to him, and he was like, well, first, you know, you don't want to get in pills. I said, I know I don't. I don't want to rely on something so I can function. So he did take me through that. One of the things he said was taking notes, a form of affirmations, things like that. But I realized that although I was doing that stuff and it was helping out a lot, there was something I still needed a little bit of help with. They gave me Wellbutrin, and I told him straight up. Yeah, I straight up told him. I said, look, I don't want anything I have to take every day and rely on. So can you guys work with me on that? He's like, yeah, sure. They prescribed me Wellbutrin and then said, oh, it's not working because you're not taking it daily. I said, it's not going to work then because I'm not doing that.
You don't want that. You don't want those medicines. Like I said, there's only a very few people like that would actually would benefit from that. Most people, you should not be using that. Is what in my personal opinion, not a professional or a medical opinion, but in my personal opinion.
Important to say that.
You should not be using that. I have some children that have that, and we are natural. We don't use anything like that. They don't have a therapist or anything. Maybe they could benefit from that. But as far as that, we're just like showing okay, we're trying to show them self-sufficiency and have them to do that for themselves. Remembering things is the problem. Remembering things. You would think that you remember the same thing day in and day out, the same routine. They don't remember the routines. So that's where the frustration kind of kicks in, is because it's like, okay, we do the same thing. What are we going to do today, Pinky? The same thing we do every night. Take over the world. We're going to do the same thing day in, day out. We got the same chores. Like make your bed, brush your teeth, take your shower, eat your breakfast, get dressed, do your thing, right? It's like the same thing. But you know, that's not quite.
Creating those habits.
It may not be the exact same order every day for ADD. It might be like you're doing all those things, but the order might vary. Getting it in the same order, that's what's difficult. Now, if they organize it to their preference, they'll do it the same way every time because that's how their preference is. But if they're doing it to someone else's preference, it's very difficult for them to learn the order of someone else's preference.
Oh yeah, it's an adjustment. It's a big adjustment for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Apocalypse. Got to make things a habit. Like I always forgot my wallet when I left home, so I made it a habit to do a pocket check before I left. There you go. Yeah. My belt. Wait, I forgot my wallet. My belt showed up with mismatched shoes one day. Still sold a car. Oh, well, damn.
Yeah, we can bring him on if you want to. We've got some people waiting, and we've got Apocalypse, and we've got Ninja.
Yeah, get up in here, Apocalypse.
We've got them. We've got some people here waiting with us.
Ninja, you're muted.
Hey Heather, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Apocalypse.
Hey, so I don't know if you've seen in the chat, wwcfam was saying that can you check?
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. I just got it. I tried like 3 times, but finally it let me through.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I fixed it. It's a done deal. I got it now.
You know, hey, I didn't know what was wrong with me my whole life. I've made a bunch of mistakes, you know, and the way I figured out I had ADHD was, you know, I was married and my wife was complaining about stuff a lot. And I went to the doctor for something else. And I just started mentioning some of the stuff that, you know, I'm like, I don't know if there's something wrong with my brain or what. And the doctor goes, well, I'm going to get you referred to a psychiatrist or something like that to see if you might have bipolar because your mood swings, you know. And she said, but I also think you might have ADHD. So sure enough, I went and did the paperwork and everything, filled it out with the the questionnaires or whatever. Like, do you do this? Do you do that or whatever? Like sometimes, never, or all the time, you know, and it'd be like leaving things at home, cutting people off when they talk, doing this. And I'm like, my wife complains about this stuff all the time. I'm like, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that. So I bubbled all the bubbles, and then they gave me another sheet and said, go bring this to your wife and have her fill it out and then come back in. And our answers pretty much matched. And they said, they went over the results with me. They said, so not only do you have ADHD, you have severe ADHD. And I was like, oh shit. So it makes sense, because I remember, like, you know, when I was younger, you know, like I would do things like I go and I'll pay for gas, and then I'll just get in my car and I'll leave. And I'm
Just
like,
drive off. Yeah.
yeah. And then I'm like, you know, I get home, I'm like, why am I still on E? Like, what's, I was like, oh, I didn't even pump the gas. Let me go back. You know, so I go back, and one time they said, you know, cause you used card, it didn't go through. So, you know, just use your card again, you're fine. But one time I paid with cash, and I got back to the store, and they're like, man, you're burnt, bro. Somebody else already pumped your money, you know?
Yeah.
So stuff like that would happen. I didn't do well in school at all. You know, I was,
Did you blame it on being lazy?
what was
Like,
that?
did you think you were just like lazy?
Well, I had a, you know, a couple bad influences, and I had a bad attitude in high school where I kind of didn't care about school that much. So, you know, there's a couple times I skipped, or, you know, I'd go to certain classes, and I'm like, I don't get this. I'm just gonna put my head down, you know. And but I never studied, you know, or anything like that. Like for instance, in world history, I lost the book like a week into the class, and so the whole year I was taking notes off the movies we would watch, and, you know, doing group studies or whatever, and I'd kind of take notes off of my peers, and I passed the class with a B. And I found a book at the end of the year, and I turned that in, so I didn't get charged for it. But the next year I go to US history, and I don't know if it was the way the guy taught. He was kind of boring or whatever, like the dry eyes, clear eyes commercial guy, you know, really mundane. And so uh, I didn't do well in his class at all. I just put my head down, like I give up already. And same thing like in geometry. We had it was an Asian guy. He had an accent. I couldn't really understand what he was saying most of the time when he was teaching. So I didn't even really try. I was kind of too shy to kind of raise my hand and ask questions or whatever. But we had a book where all the odd numbers would be in the back of the book, all the answers. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, we would do odd numbers, and Tuesdays and Thursdays we'd do even numbers.
Okay.
So I had basically a 50% in the class, because I just copied from the back of the book on the Mondays and Wednesdays, and the other days I'd fail.
Wow.
So I passed with a like a C minus, and my counselor recommended. He goes, I think you should take that class again. I don't know if you learned everything. You know, you barely passed it. He goes, or do you think you should just go on to the next level? I was like, I don't want to take the same class again. It's boring. You know, put me in the next one. You know. I thought it was gonna be all right, you know. I get into algebra 2, and I didn't know a damn thing, and like I didn't have friends that I could copy off of, or a book with answers in the back, so I straight got an F in that class too. So yeah, I was failing a lot at one high school, and then I ended up getting transferred to another high school, and then I did a little bit better. Part of it was my parents on my ass more, you know, like you need to graduate, you know, and all that. But yeah, it's
so hold up. You
That
not
was
to
genius,
interrupt,
by the way.
huh?
That was genius. But I said, I'm not gonna lie. When you were struggling and you're like you didn't know how you're gonna make it, and you realized that the answers were on there on that day, that was genius. By the way, I must admit, I'm not saying I'm one for cheating, but like that was genius. That was. I mean,
you kind of have to.
yeah.
You figured out how to do it, how to get past it, and you did it.
Yeah, that was great. That was.
I didn't know I had a learning disability or anything. Nowadays, they kind of, you know, they diagnose your kids, and my son has ADD, not ADHD, and so the school had to do like I don't know what they call it, like a comprehension plan kind of thing, like where they They can adjust things for him, like give him extra time on some of the tasks, or
Mhm.
give him headphones so
Yeah.
he could concentrate. Um, you know, certain things like that. Like he's allowed to take breaks, you know, and um, he did pretty well in it. But then we put him in home studies because he was still struggling a little bit, and he did really well in home studies because he was watching a video and he could pause it and rewind it if he didn't catch something, you know, so the teacher wouldn't go too fast for him, you know. What, and he had like one-on-one with the teacher once a week, so he did a lot better. But yeah, definitely, I didn't know I had a learning disability. I kind of did think I was either lazy or just being a you know, like a teen, you know,
Yeah.
I guess a hard ass, you know.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I love about now. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's off. We didn't have this back in our day and all this stuff. But I think it's phenomenal that people are a lot more aware of mental health and things like that. Because if you don't deal with ADHD when you're younger, or ADD when you're younger, it does have a huge impact on when you're older.
Oh yeah.
And getting that late start on trying to learn, like Heather's able to start early with her kids. You know, hey, I know you got this. We're going to work on things to help you get the most out of life, even though you deal with this. You start that later, and a lot of life's already passed you by while you're struggling with this and had no idea how to fix it. So I'm glad that you're able to work on it and everything like that. Grabbing your keys, your checks before you leave home.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of times where, you know, I left work or something, and I get in my car, I'm like, where's my keys? You know, I got to go back in there. Or you know, at home, I don't know, like I already said, you know, I left my wallet, I showed up with mismatched shoes because I don't, leaving in a hurry, you're always panicking in the morning, you know.
And still sold the car. That's phenomenal.
Oh yeah. They said I was notorious for that. Like I had wardrobe mishaps and still sell a car. Like I'll accidentally grab this shirt with a stain or a rip on it. You know what I mean? You're supposed to throw them away, but I used to wear them anyways in the winter with my jacket because the shirts costed $72 each. You know,
May as
because they were
well.
long sleeve. They had to cover my tattoos and everything. So I I was like, I don't want to buy another shirt. You know what I mean? It's winter time. Let me keep these. And so I accidentally grabbed the wrong shirt during the summer, you know, and they could see the rip, you know, and I'm like, I'm live 30 minutes away. So I'm not going home. You know, they're like, all right, well, you know, you better sell a car. So I still sold a car with a ripped shirt or a stain on my shirt or without a belt, you know, mismatched shoes. That they basically said, if I show up and I don't look presentable like I should be, then that's a telltale sign that I'm selling a car that day.
Oh damn!
I was like known for it, you know.
Wow.
Like I should have got sent home, but they didn't want to send me home. They're like,
Because then
no,
you're
you're
gonna
gonna
sell
sell
a
a car
car. They're
because your
like,
shoes
never
don't
mind.
match.
They're gonna, yeah, it don't match, but you're selling the car, so we're just gonna let it slide. You
Yeah,
know, there's definitely like tactics that could help. Well, okay, there's a few things. You could either put all your stuff to the side and like start over ish, or you could like
Yeah.
put all your stuff to the side and then like you put everything like clean to organize in your closet and see what you wear for about 2 weeks. Whatever's left over that you like when you go to look what you want to, and you just feel like you don't really want to wear that. Take all that stuff out and put it in a bag or something like that for like another 2
Charity.
weeks or whatever, and then get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
if it's like if you have like that one suit for like the funeral or whatever, like don't get rid of the suit. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the one suit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
for that thing. But or you got to have like the winter jacket. You know what I mean? But other than that, the rest of the stuff, like if you're not using stuff and you know you don't use it, get rid of it. If you know you had like all these other like stuff, but then now on the other hand, you could go and get you like you said, you're a car salesman, so maybe you get a couple of short sleeve like polo shirts with your slacks, and you get a couple of the suit things, and then you have your stuff organized, so you don't have to choose, and you don't have to look for it. You just walk like on Friday, you know, you have your certain outfits that you wear like each week, switch it up like an A and a B. And then you could rotate it like your Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or you could do, you know, your Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You could rotate it. You know what I'm saying? Rotate the tags, but switch it up. And
Yeah.
like you have them different suits, and you make the different color combinations. Put them on the hanger, and you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then do whatever you want on the weekend. So you don't have to choose from Monday through Friday.
Yeah,
You
and
like
that would have been a good idea.
Mhm.
But I like you're supposed to iron your shirt too, and I'd
No, you
iron
put it
it.
in the dryer. No.
I,
Put
I
it
would
in the dryer.
iron
No, pop it in the dryer.
right.
You don't have to do that.
But
You know
see,
what I'm
my
saying?
thing is like
Now, if you're
I'm
OCD, or if you want to, be, or you want to be extra fly,
Mhm.
then you do that. But if you like, you just trying to make it, they're looking presentable with your stuff together. Oh, pop it in the dryer. They got a lot of them have the wrinkle release. If they don't have that, get a little bit of water, like in a bowl, just tap water. Boop boop. You can flick it. Boop boop. That's
yeah,
it's like a poor man's steam.
Steamer. It's basically a
It's a
steamer.
poor man's steam. You
yeah.
fill the
Yeah.
water, pop it in the dryer. Boom, it's wrinkle release. They have wrinkle release button, and if you don't want to do all that, you just pop it in the dryer. You don't have to do the little water.
So yeah,
But it'll make it look a little nicer though.
and so my wife would be the one that I'm not with her anymore, but she would be the one that does the laundry, and she would do it while I'm at work, and I'd come home and they've been sitting in the dryer for a while, so they'd be kind of wrinkled. So I'd have to. I mean, I should have just reran it. You're right. Throw some water in there. I learned that trick like about a year ago, but I don't work at the car sales job anymore. But I do remember I would iron my shirt every morning instead of one week I did do all my shirts on a Sunday and had it lined out for the week like you're talking about.
See, that will help you. You
But
can make your whole plan for the week on Sunday while you're chilled out in the evening after you had your dinner or something like that. You're either the first thing in the morning or after you've like had your day and you did what you want to relax or whatever. Then sit down and you can go over your bills. You can go over your plan for the week. What you
yeah,
want to wear, if you need to even figure out what you want to eat, because you don't like, oh, it's gonna be too much. Some people need to have those choices already made. Some
yeah,
people want to choose for that day. Some people like you don't want that locked in. I kind of don't want all my stuff locked in. I want to figure out what I want to eat.
yeah.
Yep.
That Hello Fresh or
Spur of the
whatever was a
moment.
good
Yep.
deal. Like me and my ex-girlfriend had the Hello Fresh or one of those delivery you know things, and it like deliver like 4 or 5 meals, and so we were like, all right, we're having this today, this tomorrow, this Wednesday, this Thursday, and that would work perfect. Um
Oh, yeah, the meal prep.
yeah,
Yeah, they would have been great, except for my
because
kid got sick. You owe
because I
me hello.
like to cook. I like to cook, but one time I was cooking and I started thinking of some raps, so I was like, let me get my phone so I could type those real quick, and then I was like, oh, you know what, something was like cool. I was like, I wanted to do a video or something like that. So I started recording because I just set up my Halloween decorations or something in my apartment. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do a video. I was like, while I'm doing a video, let me turn off the light so you can see all these bright lights that I set up, around the table area. And then I turn off the light and I'm like, why is the burner on? I'm like, oh, I was cooking. So, sometimes, you find out you were cooking because you burnt it. And then sometimes you figure it out because you're like, oh, I didn't realize the burner was on. Like I had something on the stove, but I didn't have anything in the pan. So I didn't think I was cooking. I went from cooking to, I started cleaning my room one time and then started like, oh, okay, well, let me throw these clothes in the, in the basket. And I was like, well, I might as well do laundry real quick. So I started doing laundry and I'm like, I didn't even finish my room. So I go back in my room, start cleaning. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I was making something to eat. And, you go out there and, or you start doing the dishes while you're cooking because you're trying to clean up the mess. Like you just start getting on one and you don't finish that one thing. And yeah,
Yeah,
that one
You need
time,
timers. So for
yeah.
there's a couple things I would suggest for you. You need a timer. I don't care if you're cooking in the stove, the oven. If you're cooking, you need a timer. So that way, if you walk off and you forget what you're doing, beep.
Oh,
What
that's
the
why I
heck?
love the air
You
fryer.
know,
Yeah, for your
what the heck is?
safety.
What is that
For your
for? What
safety,
the heck is that
especially.
for? Well, you know that you got food in the kitchen. If you hear that beep, you know that there's food cooking in the kitchen. You need to go check it out.
Yeah, that's why I
And
like the air fryers are cool.
Oh, air fryers are life.
Yep, and I
I
like
haven't
Entire
used
life
those.
changed with an air fryer.
and the Instapots are great.
Just watch on the
Mhm.
materials that it's made with because a lot of those have the non-stick and those are the forever chemicals. So I have not used those.
Yeah.
I heard the other ones, some of them have antimony in there. And then I had a secret. I have no proof of this, but secretly I thought that when they said it's an air fryer, well, what is air? It's water vapor, right? What is that? H2O. Well, let's break that down. H is what? Hydrogen, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like hydrogenate. Like if you're using just a little bit of air, I was thinking they may be secretly hydrogenating the food. And I have no proof of that. I'm not really sure, but that's originally why I didn't use it. Then later, my spidey senses kicked up. There's like, don't use it. Something's not quite right there. I was like, so I never got one. And then I found out that some of them had the forever chemicals, and some of them had the antimony. So my spidey senses were right. I don't know if it was about the hydrogenation part, but it was like, some of them have some not so good stuff in there.
Well, I also have a toaster oven that has the air fryer option. So you just put it on the rack and like it'll do like wings or whatever. You just press the wing button or, so it's not one of those ones you put it in the basket and shove the basket into it. Yes, with the non-stick. I do see what you mean with those.
Yeah, no, the stainless steel is definitely a better option. I want the one that doesn't air fry at all. I want like the one that's it's a toaster oven, but it's like a toaster convection with no air fry. I want that one with the no air fry. And that way you can reheat without the microwave, because I found out that the microwave is actually putting microwaves in your food. Like, what? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And so if you go in your microwave and take out the little glass plate or whatever, and look up underneath and look at the symbol, and it's the radioactive symbol in the microwave. They have to show you the symbols there. You can't just do it in a radioactive way, and they didn't show it to you.
Yeah, that's why they say, if you microwave too much food or eat too many microwavable foods, you could get cancer and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so my goal was to, at one point we did stop using the microwave, but then when I bought my house, it came with a stainless steel one that matched all the appliances. So of course we're using the microwave, even though I really shouldn't be. We're big on health here.
Yeah.
Well,
I know once you get into the habit of actually cooking, it is a lot easier to kind of drift away from the microwave until you need them leftovers. Then you're just sitting there like, microwave ain't looking bad, but if you're eating as you're right as you're cooking, I think at one point I stopped using my microwave without even realizing I had stopped using it. I started getting into the habit of cooking, and that microwave just sat there for like a good 4 or 5 months untouched. And honestly, you do feel a lot better. There is something about it's radioactive radiation. Just in small doses, and not the good kind like Incredible Hulk. It's not gamma rays.
Yeah, I live in a trailer now, and the little stove doesn't work. So all I have is a microwave, but I've used it maybe 2 or 3 times since I lived here. I've lived here since October. So mainly I just make sandwiches and stuff like that. I eat like sandwiches and cereal and different things like that. I know cereal's not really healthy for you either.
Cereal, if I told you the cereal was made to fatten you up in times that there's not a lot of food, that's what cereal was actually made for. Like I believe it was like wartime, sometime in the 90s, I believe. It was actually made to fatten people up, because really breakfast is kind of made up in a way. Breakfast is really breaking the fast that you have overnight it's what the first thing that you consume after you haven't eaten from dinner time, from when you sleep and your body goes into repair mode.
Yep.
So I do a lot of fasting to try to clear all that stuff out. You really have to do 18 hours to get apoptosis, but I can use that like if I ate late night and let's say I had Wendy's or I ate some stuff I shouldn't be, I can use that to burn it off because I fast longer, so I burned it off before I eat. Then when I go to eat, make sure I'm eating something quality like fruits. You know what I mean? Like some good, maybe some vegetables, eggs or something like that, like an omelet, veggie omelet or something like that. You know what I mean? Like a salad or maybe different stuff. I mean, I do still eat meat, but I like a lot of vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. So I'm trying to work on that. I have kids too. It's hard when you grow up eating meat, it's not eat the meat after that. With the kids, especially. I mean, I could probably go vegetarian. Is not hard. Vegan's a little weirder because I'm lactose intolerant, but I still like cheese. I do butter and cheese. Butter doesn't mess with me, but cheese does. And then, of course, it's got mucus with it, so that's not really good for you.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Yeah. Well, there's mucus in the meat too. I mean, you have really the meat is you got to detox from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
give your body a break from the stuff that you're just throwing in there that shouldn't be in there in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, well, the way that food is, it's like it's a battle. If you really want to eat healthy and you're not educated, you're not going to do so at the grocery store.
True.
because what you shouldn't be eating anything processed or very minimally processed, which would be like the whole outside of the store. So you have the produce section, your fruits and vegetables, herbs and stuff like that. Then you have like on the outside, okay, if you're eating meat, there's meat. If you eat dairy, there's dairy, right?
Yeah.
And then the only other thing that you go in down there, if you want to go, if you eat grains, you want whole grains, like rice, quinoa, barley, stuff like that.
Yep.
There's
That's
many.
right next to the top ramen.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't want top ramen. Like, hey,
I know you don't.
no,
You know that.
I eat ramen, but not that ramen. We eat like the buckwheat noodles. And you have to be careful because you don't know what noodles that they're giving you when you go to other places. You have to ask and be specific because they've got the rice noodles. They got this. We aim to have 3 or more grams of fiber in anything we're having. If we are really pushing the envelope, 2 grams of the fiber. But it depends on what it is. If it's a rice pasta, I know it's only going to have 2 grams, so I can't expect 3 because it naturally won't have it. So that's fine. If it's like a brown rice pasta or something like that, I don't do the chickpea pasta. Yeah. It's too heavy and it makes me feel. It just makes me feel gross. It's like weighted down. You feel kind of like bloated or something. I don't have that problem when I eat food, so it's just not a good feeling. If you like the chickpea pasta, by all means, go for it. It's just not something that I can particularly eat. Different things work for different people. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Some people like regular potatoes. Some people like sweet potatoes. Vice versa. I like all of those, but I don't eat organic.
Hey Heather, I don't know if you saw in the chat, Supreme Allah's trying to join in or something, or
he's here. Yeah. Where's he?
Oh, there he goes.
Hey, Supreme.
Me up, sis.
Peace.
Hey.
What's going on? What's going on? So the thing about cereal is, if you look on Wikipedia, what it says is not true. John Harvey Kellogg and his brother William Keith, they actually invented cereal to sell a breakfast drink to compete with tea and coffee. So they basically had chamomile. So back then, people didn't really have access to information. So they came with the idea, they made up the whole thing that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And because they had the money to push the propaganda, they were able to make it seem like, so basically breakfast means nothing, right? But you got to remember too, they also had the sanitarium John Harvey Kellogg was very heavy into theology. So he was able to push religion along with the breakfast idea. So because he was considered an expert on this, people took what he said at face value and it spread like wildfire. So I never eat cereal.
That makes sense. That checks.
Yeah, it's really one of the worst things for you. Nice to meet you, brother. I'm a bit of a historian. People don't know. So this is off the top of the brain.
No, go.
So the thing is that obviously they lost the war, for lack of a better term, to make their breakfast cereal popular, because who really drinks chamomile in America? But they did succeed at tricking people into thinking breakfast is important. Actually, what eating breakfast will do will overwork your organs, and you'll probably be very unhealthy in your later years, because when you wake up, the best thing to do is just drink room temperature water, and then you shouldn't really eat for about 2 to 3 hours after you wake up. If you look at the people in India, Asia, well, that's Asia as well, but the Buddhists, I'm a Buddhist, I study Buddhism. Most Buddhists, like my Buddhist instructor is like 90 years old, and he can still run 9 miles every day because he does not eat breakfast. He just drinks water and meditates. So anyway, I don't want to get too into it. Nice to meet you. How y'all doing? I just got up, so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up.
And I don't eat cereal like every day or nothing like that. I'm just I'm limited on what I can make here. Mm-hmm. So I honestly, I don't really eat breakfast because I just get up and I go to work. I have coffee in the morning, and then that kind of keeps me going until about 1 p.m. and then I start getting hungry for lunch or something. And we'll eat lunch, and then I get home. Most of the time, I'm not even hungry for dinner. I'll just eat 1 meal a day, which I know is not really healthy, but
that's not necessarily true. That's a misnomer. If you're only hungry enough to eat, I'm that way. I eat 1 to 2 meals a day. I don't eat 3 meals a day. I eat like usually lunch and dinner. Sometimes we have breakfast for dinner. Like we had that. I want to say last night we had breakfast for dinner. Like we had some pasture-raised eggs and stuff like that. The ones that eat bacon, they ate bacon. Because some of them do. We have pancakes for the ones that eat pancakes. For the ones that don't eat that, we had organic raisin toast. You know what I mean? With some orange juice. So that's what we had. Like that was our breakfast for dinner. Like I said, everybody don't eat the bacon. Some people don't eat the pancakes and they eat toast. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we do as best as we can. Yeah, we do as best as we can. Really, we probably should be switching to turkey bacon, just to be honest, because I found out some more things about pork already. But like I said, the meat thing it's one of them things. I try to get the uncured bacon, so at least I'm doing that already with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're making out the healthiest what we're eating. We're trying to make the healthiest choices or whatever. But
Yeah. Back when I was with my wife, we ate turkey bacon for like 2 years.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I like turkey bacon. I like something Fam said. He was talking about his verse and put it in there. He's like about
that's
the
Chris.
water and everything like that.
Oh, there's Chris. That's Chris right there. Let's say, hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, what's going on? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. I like that. You don't have swearing in your now. Is it in your music period? You don't have swearing at all? Or
Yeah,
is it
yeah.
just that particular verse.
In the whole song that I'm writing, I actually used to rap back in the day in 2006, and then I basically retired and then didn't rap like for years. You know what I mean? Basically, I started getting more involved in stuff in 2014 and more serious. And then as time went on, then I'd stop here and there and then come out with something like 2017, then 2019 and stuff like that. But the last thing we did that I was actually on was the We Are the Virus. And it's about turning the negativity into the positivity, spreading like a virus in a positive way, because worldwide collaboration, I don't know if anybody told you about it. It's the world movement beyond thousands of movements and talents put together, all about representing each other together as a family with unity and helping each other and stuff like that as well. But so the last verse that I did was on the We Are the Virus, and that was probably like 2023, I believe, that we did that. Apocalypse was on it. There was 31 of us on that one. But I recently just started writing to a new song that me and my brother are gonna do. I think Apocalypse is gonna get on there too. We're gonna start collabing together and stuff. So I'm basically coming back, but I'm not somebody that wants to be famous for music. I do it to get the message out there. Back in the day, I used to do it for fun, and I would rap about all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? It didn't matter what I said. And now, since 2014, I always wanted to rap about the hidden subliminal messages to get the messages out there. Right. And so, I mean, I have this verse that I wrote. If you guys want to hear it,
if you will drop it in the chat.
Sorry.
No, I'm saying you want me to rap it. It's a verse. I didn't record it yet. Okay, here we go. Human beings are being mind controlled like the movies, which are real stories. It's been documented and written in front of our eyes to take over each other and make us think we are blind. People don't believe the signs. How are we not worried? They make us go against one another. It's like they hacked our brain and washed us out and vanished us from existence in our mind. It's all a part of the plan. We don't really remain. Robot alien armies shape-shifting into reality, which are our enemies who are existing, but they are really reptilians. They are in our presence. Isn't it exciting? Not even. They are in plain sight, but they are even in our presence, hosting presidential elections. Everything has been in full effect, affecting, causing chaos and havoc with infections, poisoning us with unanswered questions and toxins in our food and water supplies. How can we survive? The world isn't a place for human consumption. It's a volcano erupting like do or die. All the workers are protesting when they are destroying our buildings, and then they are building underground drains to trap us with terror, to bring us fear. It's horribly horrifying and so terrifying. They are torturing us with torches as test subjects creating deadly viruses, killing us with kindness and laughing in our faces while we are silenced. They are lying about everything. They are hiding. The whole universe is a deadly asylum.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's dope.
Dropping some
and
nuggets in there.
and he
Thank you,
he
thank you.
slowed that down so that way you guys could catch the bars, because he spit it for me yesterday a lot faster, and I could tell yeah, he wanted you guys to hear the
Oh
lyrics in
yeah,
there,
the messages.
Oh
The
yeah,
the
there
messages.
was
message.
some nuggets
Yeah,
dropped. There were
Oh
some
yeah,
nuggets.
that's what it's all about.
yeah, he showed me yesterday on the beat too. It was awesome.
Yeah, keep writing them bars, Chris. That's what's up.
Yeah, that's a
Thank
dope
you,
verse, yo.
appreciate it.
That's definitely dope.
Definitely in there.
Yeah, I like how how you do like you say like in effect they're affecting like good wordplay. I don't know why I'm echoing.
Thank you, family. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah, I had
Definitely.
to log in on the
Definitely.
2 accounts because the camera's not working on the laptop, so I'm on the phone right now.
Ah, gotcha.
Definitely. Like there's more more than one way to get it done.
There always is.
That's for sure.
Speaking of that, no, what caught my attention? He said he didn't have any swearing in at all, and I was talking about stand-up comedy lately, and I don't know if y'all noticed. There's a big, well, I don't know if y'all could see it, but there is a big emphasis now on clean comedy as well. And I think it's really interesting that like the comedians that I've seen, a lot of comedians that in the circles that I ran with, that they used to have like just the most vulgar sets, and they're switching over to clean sets of comedy as well. And what it is, it makes them a lot more marketable. They can go wherever they want to go. They can have these amazing sets. I think it's highly respectable, because I could never do it. When I was doing comedy, like as soon as I got nervous, I just got vulgar. I didn't even get funny, just vulgar when I got nervous. And so I'm seeing that in comedy where they're moving towards clean. Do y'all have like a respect for like clean music? Because I noticed, I think most of the people in here are music, correct?
Yeah.
A lot of the people in here mostly are music. Yeah, Supreme Allah, he's a lyrical hip hop artist, but he does so much more than that. Chris, he's also a rapper, and he's also an artist, but he does so much more. He's the digital builder. All of us belong to Worldwide Collaboration. We're all like family members with that. We have meetings like Monday through Friday, and it's like a think tank. And then it's like Monday, we're doing social media marketing. Supreme has it, and usually I'll help out if he wants to do like show something on the screen, slides and stuff like that. Tuesday, we've got cannabis education and or cryptocurrency Tuesday. Wednesday is hip hop 101. Thursday is music publishing and production and or finance. And then it's Free Music Friday. As long as you're a member of Worldwide and you paid your minimum monthly dues, and you can get your music played on Friday, every Friday.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Y'all got a schedule.
Yeah, I'll send you the link if you want to come check it out. You don't have to stay for the whole thing if you might have dip in. Sometimes everybody can't stay for the whole thing. But come in. Like I said, tomorrow we're gonna play some music and stuff like that. You can kind of see what we're about. But it's Free Music Friday. People play like beats, tracks, collabs, all that stuff. Sometimes you get like the first peak and some people's music that they haven't released yet that they'll be releasing shortly or on their albums and stuff like that.
So
yeah, shoot me the link.
I don't I rap. I don't curse ever when I rap. The thing about comedy is that comedy is like by definition is giving people the truth really fast. And the reason why a comedian will I actually you can Google him. His name's Marshall Brandon. He's good friends with Dave Chappelle. He's from Windsor, Connecticut. He was part of like a street crew, if you know what I mean, that used to do what they did, and they used their money to like propel him into the entertainment business. Marshall Brandon, I've been to some of his shows. I know him. I've done street things with him, but because 50's Mansion is in Connecticut, it wasn't hard to get him in there, and then he got introduced, and now he's been on movies, all kind of stuff. But anyway, so he studied the science of comedy, And the reason why a person will go to cursing when they kind of get low self-esteem or confidence on what they're performing is because a person laughs because they're uncomfortable. We hit them with the truth. And if you hit them with a curse or something vulgar, and it's like mixed in with what you're saying, it accentuates and punctuates your point, even if you have no point, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So a person will laugh because they're uncomfortable. Most laughs are uncomfortable. It's because the person's uncomfortable or they don't understand it. So it's like a physiological response to show that they understand, right? So we clap to say, oh, I understand that art. It's really to boost your own self-esteem. It's not because you actually enjoy the art, whether it be, for example, a person will take feces and smear it on a canvas, and everyone in the art gallery will go, look at what that really says about society. You're pretending you understand it. It's not anything. It's feces on a canvas. A similar reaction happens at comedy.
Shock value. There
you go.
Shock value.
But I can appreciate more hip hop in comedy that's not vulgar because, like, at my age, I've been observing communication and media for a long time, and Eazy-E was cursing, Snoop Dogg was cursing, everyone was cursing. I don't need to hear anyone else say the N-word ever again, or curse ever again. It's all been done, right? So it's very bland to me. Like, it doesn't shock me if someone's cursing. It's actually the reverse. When someone does a rap or a theatrical performance or a stand-up gig without cursing, I'm impressed.
Oh yeah, it takes because there's to an extent there has to be a little bit more creativity to do that. If you're eliminating cursing from your song, if you're eliminating the low hanging fruit, the easy dirty laughs from your set, that means you're dipping into a different creative stream. You're eliminating a lot of easy rhymes in a rap song. If you say, okay, let me not drop this F-bomb. Let me find something else that works there. It shows talent. It shows talent, and that's not to downplay, people who do curse. Like there's a certain type of creativity in it all, but I can see, or you can hear the work, and there's a little bit more effort that goes into trying to do it without it.
Yeah, it's more challenging.
That makes any sense.
Yeah, it's more.
That's how I was. I was dropping the F-bomb every other word back in the day when I freestyled. And then I started switching out to hater. And then I was like, hater this, hater that, hater. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you got to switch that word out because you're trying to eliminate the swearing.
Yeah.
But now,
use a different film word.
I don't even, I just do it a whole different way than what I used to do it back in the day.
So yeah, like when I started too, my influences were Eminem and Sacramento rappers like Brother Lynch Hung and X-Rated and stuff like that. So like I used to tell people my style was like a mix between Eminem and Brother Lynch Hung. He'd rap about killing people, he'd rap about eating them or whatever. I don't know if you guys heard of him or not, but he's from my hometown, so he was a heavy influence for me. But I grew up on like Tupac, Bone Thugs, Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, Snoop, and all them. So yeah, cussing was normal, and I still struggle with that when I talk. My dad doesn't cuss anymore, and so I catch myself when I'm around him. I'm like, oh, I was about to say the S word, but I'm like, let me say stuff instead, and it feels different. It feels weird, but I do remember I was talking to one of my dad's friends one time, and when I was younger, he used to cuss a lot. So I'm having a conversation with him, and I'm cussing. And he says after the conversation, he goes, hey, I just want to pray for you real quick. And I also want to ask you to try to remember that, your little ones are listening to you. So when you cuss a lot like that, what do you think they're going to do? What are they learning from you and all that? And it hit me because I'm like, damn, I didn't even notice I was actually like every other word was, because you say it to emphasize something like Supreme Allah was saying. It's like you're you're trying to get your point across more. So you think, you know, hey, if I say my effing point, you're gonna be like, oh dang, you know what I mean? Like, wow, you know, he's really meaning what he says. So it's hard because out of habit, I still, you know, if I freestyle, I'm probably gonna drop a few F bombs or something. But I have had 2 tracks recently. Somebody sent me one and said write something. He goes, no cussing, and I went through the whole track without cussing, and then this other guy sent me a song and said he didn't really say no cussing, but he said the topic is keeping the faith. So I didn't know what to write, you know, because sometimes I get writer's block, but I pick up the mic and I'll just start flowing. So I freestyled, and if I, you know, if I stumble, I'll go back, or if I can't think of a word like too quick, I'll just pause the record, and you know, when I think of a bar or two, then I'll press record again and I'll go. So so I was able to like brainstorm onto the beat, but I freestyled it, you know, and there was no cuss words. I just talked about Jesus the whole time, you know.
GG's.
So
I know that's a gamer term, but good job.
Yeah, and it's challenging, but it also, like I said, I think it shows more talent because it's easy to have those words in between. You know, like, you know, anybody could say F this, F that, and then F Chris, F Matt. You know, it's just I noticed there's songs like that, like where basically you're just rhyming that one word at the end of everything, but before that, all you're saying is like a bunch of nonsense cuss words, you know.
Yeah, and I think there's a middle ground too, where you understand that rap music, comedy, all those art forms are a form of expression for people too. So there are some people that they do cuss and they do things, not just because, you know, it's easy, but that's how they're expressing. So I never want to say like, well, you know, rap with cursing is crap. It's just a different form of expression.
Yeah,
But it takes a lot to do it without it. It really does.
yeah. To each their own, you know. Too, and it's uh,
I
it,
see.
it's weird because there is songs with, you know, a lot of N bombs in it, you know, and if you take out those words, you know, you're gonna have a lot of spaces. Like if they bleeped it, if you put it on the radio, you're just gonna hear beep 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 because they're I feel like they're filler words, you know, the
Right.
F bomb,
Yeah.
the N bomb, like, and I'm guilty of it too. Not the N bomb, but the F bomb, you know, and I feel like there it's like somebody said G Unit. 50 Cent says G Unit every time. It might have been the game or something. He says, you know, you can't think of another line, just say G Unit one more time. Like, hey, that's his filler line. Anytime he can't think of something, he says G Unit. You know, and in a sense, it's kind of true, and we do that with a lot of words. So it's not just cuss words. So like when I
Oh
used to
yeah, it's
freestyle,
raps, it's ad libs.
yeah, when I used to freestyle, I used to always say, you know, I'm consistent with it. Like that'd be my bar that I would set up to go into my next bar because I can't think of something in that second. So I just always be like, oh, I'm consistent with it when I rip it. You know, it's like
Crutch.
it was out of habit. It was almost in every one of my freestyles.
It's like a crutch phrase.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say this: X-rated. It was very impressive that he was able to make Billboard from being in prison.
Oh yeah,
you know, like what he did was phenomenal.
And he got out and he signed with Strange and he's making some good money. He's like, you know, millionaire status kind of stuff like that right now. And I think he does deserve it because he's been through a lot. And I think a lot of people would have quit, you know, being in his shoes and dealing with what he had to deal with.
Sure. When I turned myself in to go do my time, my ex, we strategized where I had like over 300 songs recorded and we released it throughout the years while I was locked up. And I actually got that from his playbook.
Yeah.
And it's even easier now because the inmates can have tablets and in some states they have cell phones. So like people can order your music and stuff. But yeah, no, what X-rated, you know, I've always been tuned into a lot of the Bay and you know, Southern Cali any hip hop really. That's what I do and what I pay attention to. But X-rated was He's not like you, Apocalypse, because clearly you're not trying to do the song that we discussed. So I don't know what happened.
What do you mean? We were.
You see how I pause, slip that in? No, I dropped my number and told you to hit me up. You didn't hit me.
Dude, I gotta check my chat. I have.
Oh,
You know what?
We were on red.
Oh man, my bad, bro. If I left you on red, I actually wanted to collab with you, and I saw you in the meeting like last week, and I don't know if was it in the chat or did you private message me on Messenger?
I don't have Facebook, so I don't have social media.
So that I must have not even seen the message, man.
Yeah, I did drop it in the chat when you said. Actually, I dropped it in here last week too.
So,
let me get these dogs.
I'll do it again.
Well, my bad, man. Not to make excuse, but I do have ADHD. So sometimes, like, I'll be like, "Yeah, I intend on making a track of that person. We're chatting about it, and then I'll back out of the chat and I'll forget all about it like 10 minutes later."
I dropped it again.
Is it again? Okay.
It's in the chat.
All right. Let me. I'm gonna screenshot that right now.
Hey, what's up, brother? Cinematic.
How's
my
going?
bad, bro.
No problem.
I'm glad you said something because I did want to collab with you.
Man, let's do it.
And one thing about X-rated, so I went manic after I did the whole Adderall after I got diagnosed with ADHD and everything like that. And I know I'm not trying to take over the meeting. I talk a lot. Sorry. But I went manic and I did a tribute to X-rated. It was like 17-minute freestyle, and some of it was whack. You know what I mean? I showed my friends. They're like, "Dude, you're just kind of like not mumbling, but just ranting going on." Like some of it didn't even rhyme or whatever. But I went manic, bro. I don't even know what I was doing, but I kept it on my YouTube anyways for the like mental health reasons. Because I also did a 45-minute freestyle where I was trying to like battle Eminem. Like I respect Eminem. He's like basically one of my favorite rappers. Like him, Tech Nine, and Nas and Lil Wayne are my top 4. But Eminem, because he's a battle rapper, I was like, I'll throw some disses on him. You know what I mean? Like kind of more out of like a tribute, not disrespect, but I don't know how he would feel if he heard it. He'd probably get offended or something. But hey, that's what he does. So I was like, why can't I do it? And but I went manic and I did a 45-minute freestyle that first was starting off rapping about Xbox games or something, and then I just went on this rant and started rapping about Eminem. But I have that and the X-rated tribute. To me, I would say they're probably garbage, probably worth deleting and never looking at again. But I look back at them sometimes as like, oh damn, like I was out of it. You know what I mean? Like look back and remind myself, like, dude, if you feel like you're going into that kind of, that mind state again, like jump out of it, like that, dude. Because like I'm not on my medication, and the doctor was trying to keep me on Zyprexa and everything like that, and I wanted off. I told her I don't like it. She put me on Latuda instead. But I said I still don't like it because it makes me lazy at night. Like I fall asleep at like 7 p.m. And I still have that sleeping pattern. I wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I told her I don't like it, and she goes, "But what if you go manic again? What if you try to start your business again? What if you start buying books and don't read them again, or sign up for school?" Like, she goes, "Some people run up their credit cards when they go manic, and try to start a business or something." I'm like, I was like, well, good thing mine were already maxed out because I probably would have done that.
Yo, what's up, Cinematic? How you doing, buddy?
Will do wonders. Definitely.
I'm just listening.
Keep that paper and pen, bro. I mean, it's how you write songs. It's lyrical. It's therapy. It's everything. Write your list. Check your list. Check your songs. You can go back and look and see exactly where your train of thought was. Go back and look at what you put down there. You're like, oh, this is where I was at. This is where I'm at now. This, that, the other. It'll help you out. You should have a calendar in your house, like
Music is one of the most beautiful
like a
ways
calendar
of
there.
therapy.
You've got like certain important things, like on each day. It's like your birthday, so and so birthday. It's this bill, whatever you got to have on your calendar, whatever you need to be there where you can see it for yourself.
Under no circumstance should you take anything they prescribe to you. Most mental.
Those medications are bad news.
Yeah, most mental illness can be cleaned up with simply just meditation and healthy eating. Almost everything is a symptom of what you intake. Now, speaking of intake, this is a very probably unpopular opinion, but besides the Slim Shady EP and his work with the Outsiders, Eminem is effing trash, yo. Honestly,
oh, this man,
trash. He is trash.
Joking.
Listen. When you're talking about hip hop and the technical rapping ability, he has that. No one can take that away from him. But probably after his second album, he became a parody of himself, and nothing he said was new or groundbreaking. And that's just a fact.
And garbage. What we just said.
I believe you believe that. But here's the thing. We are entitled to our own opinions.
I'll give you like after like his like fifth or sixth.
I can't really hear you, so maybe you can get your technology together. But see, people's opinions aren't garbage, right? You can think people are garbage as far as their art, right? But people's opinions are
not garbage,
right? My opinion is not garbage, just like yours isn't.
You have your own opinion,
and that. Thank you for restoring my rights, sir. Because what I said was, I know this is probably a unpopular opinion, so I already said that, right? So it's not personal, right? Because I don't know Eminem, neither do, excuse me, sir. I don't know Eminem, neither do you, right? So what we're not going to do, or at least me, even listen, Ghostface, my favorite rapper, he has trash albums. So I don't have the pom-poms out for him, even when he put out a trash album. Word is bond. I love Ghost as a rapper, as a person, but he has trash albums. So I'm not gonna sit here and be a cheerleader for somebody because it's not personal, right?
Wait, before we go any further, I didn't mean to offend you if I offended you.
No.
Please don't take anything.
No. It's too late for that. It's too late for that because what you did was you instantly disregarded and diminished my opinion by calling it trash. So you don't have to worry about that.
I was ask anybody that's not who I am. I was not trying to offend you whatsoever.
Don't matter to me. You should always make your next move your best move. You don't know me from a hole in the wall. So don't worry
You're
about it.
absolutely correct.
Because
You're
I was
absolutely correct.
Because to be honest, yo, you don't know him. So put the pom-poms down. Because I was speaking my opinion, and it wasn't really about him so much, right? We were talking about mental health, but I wasn't able to get there because you took it so personal that I was attacking your white Jesus hero.
I didn't take anything personal. So
now, sir, since you chose to diminish my opinion, and actually, whether you like it or not, my expertise on the topic, I don't care what you have to say. Excuse me, sir. Now, like I was saying, the man became a parody of himself while not taking away from his rapping ability. That's the thing that people, because they're so invested in someone they don't know, they always overlook. I can't take nothing away from his skills. I cannot. What I can take away from is what a person chooses to do with their power, influence, and their skills. Point blank, period. Right? When he's making a positive song about I guess you could say it's mental health if a person is like, I guess you could say Stan is like mental health, right? When you're making positive things that can affect people in a way that they can learn from or relate to, this is good. So again, I don't have to like his music to recognize his contributions. Listen, I'm not a Tupac fan, but as a humanitarian, he did make positive contributions to society. But I never was a Tupac fan. I'm a fan of hip hop first, but I can separate the person from the music, right? So I will never in my life try to defend something that's wrong, right? And when people are struggling with mental health, addictions, homelessness, all this, that, and the third, and you promote the fact that you do pills and all these drugs and they're crazy and suicide, whatever he talks about, that is not helping. Point blank, period, right? That doesn't mean he can't rap. Go ahead, Ninja. I'm sorry.
I like Slim Shady, but I never did like Eminem really. Maybe a couple of tracks. But Slim Shady, you know, you're right. It's almost like he parodied himself.
Can I jump in real quick? I want to say I can see both points of view. like I said, Eminem is basically in my top 3. But the reason why I dissed him is because I could pick apart things that he says and that he got famous for, basically, like you said, doing drugs and promoting that. Like I don't encourage violence, I just promote it or whatever. And I'm like, why? I mean, it was maybe at the time it's like controversy. He got rich off controversy and famous off that, and picking on other artists. But he, to me, I look at all of it, like the battle rap, he is one of my favorite. He's not my favorite battle rapper. I would say Disaster is. But Eminem, the way he put together that movie Bodied, it's like 8 Mile on Crack if you haven't seen it. That's one of my favorite movies, and Disaster was the main character as far as the villain part goes. Eminem, though, I would say he's a genius writer and producer. A lot of people don't know this, but he produced Renegade, him and Jay-Z. He produced a couple songs on the Chronic 2001. He wrote songs for 50 Cent, for Lloyd Banks, and for a lot of members of like G Unit and D12 and all that, and he brought a lot of people up with him. But so I would say he to me, he is a garbage rapper. Like his content was garbage, but if you listen to some of the stuff, like I didn't know about it until a couple years ago, when basically I was going through depression, and I was on a playlist or whatever, one of the depressing playlist kind of things, and a lot of his songs from recovery were playing, and I'm like, I never heard this. And I'm like, this is actually really relatable to how I'm feeling. And
Chris, I don't care. Yeah, well, Chris, Chris, I don't care. I really don't, because I like the fact of the matter is respect has to be in order in all things. I'm a man, right? So you're not just gonna take what I say, diminish it, dismiss it, and say it's garbage because you feel like it. I don't care who he is. I don't care who family he is. Word is bond. I put that on my kids. Don't play with me, yo. So you don't got to tell me what he is or who he is. It makes no difference to me. Seriously.
Brother, I was just saying you misheard.
I don't care, though. And I'm telling you, I don't care, though. I promise you I don't care. I'm a man first. Period. So we're not going to do that. I would never say somebody else's opinion is garbage, because anybody's entitled to say whatever they want. I would never say someone else's opinion is garbage, because people are entitled as men, as adults, to say what they want without being told what they're saying is garbage. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand on my square, God, and defend myself. So you don't need to defend him. What? Nah, man, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I really was only using Eminem as an example of mental health and the fact of how he did not positively affect mental health. You trying to answer my opinion is garbage. Now I don't care what you have to say, sir. Thank you. Get your technology right if you want to have a discussion, sir. Sir. Get your technology right. Stop buffering if you want to have discourse. That's what I thought. I was not trying to debate, because I don't have pom-poms out for anybody. Sorry. But you, sir, with your intrinsic bias, forces you to automatically defend this white man because you think he's the Jesus of rap. That's all it is. That's it. That's all. Thank you. You can't see me, sir. You don't tell me my opinion is garbage. You're talking to a highly educated person who has taught at university. So your opinion, sir, is basura. The hell is wrong with you? Don't do that. I'm not the one. I am not. Think before you speak, and you'll get a much better result in life. Telling people they're garbage.
I want to say, on behalf of me being white, Eminem being white has nothing to do with why I like him.
Nah, it does with this clown. Hell wrong with you? The natural reflex to get the pom-poms out for him and tell me my opinion's garbage.
I want to say on the Tupac note, I am a fan of Tupac. I grew up on him, but I do think that he is a little bit overrated, especially after he got killed. He blew up, and I want to say like DMX died too, but I was more of a DMX fan than a Pac fan because his stuff was a little bit more relatable. Yeah, he had the dark songs with like Marilyn Manson and the kind of darker vibes and stuff like that. But he did have some like the one with Faith Evans or whatever, like the positive uplifting songs. And Pac had some of those too. But I want to say my favorite rapper right now would be King ISO, because his message is I don't know if you've heard of him, but
I've heard that name.
He signed with Tech Nine. He's a mental health advocate. So he has a song called Hypocrite, basically saying he wanted to commit suicide, but if he did that, how much of a hypocrite he would be, because he tells his fans, hang in there, you know, be strong. He has a song called Don't Give Up. He has a song called
what's his name?
King ISO.
King ISO?
Oh, okay.
He signed to Strange Music with Tech Nine.
Yeah, I'm gonna look him up right now.
He's my favorite rapper because of his message. So Jim Carrey is another good song where he's talking about he wears the mask, you know, like Jim Carrey.
There's a lot.
I honestly thought you were about to say that Jim Carrey is one of your favorite rappers. I was like, wait, dude, switched over there.
No, but he's one of my favorite actors because he also talks about the mental health stuff too.
Oh yeah, that dude got deep all of a sudden.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say Tupac had a movement, and he did, you know, stand up for his people and everything like that. But I feel like he was I want to say he was a little bit overrated, especially when he got killed. But I listened to him before he got killed, and I was just a kid, you know. But and I think, you know, I grew up on Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, and all that, and Tupac to me was more talented than them. But the thing is, I do feel like he was a tad bit racist, though. Me being a white person, I feel like I don't know if he was racist, but he did just stick up for his people, which is cool, you know, because they were being shit on. Excuse my language, you know. So I could understand where he was coming from, you know. So that's why I don't look at it in a negative way, even though, you know, I'm like, you know, he probably wasn't too fond of white people. He probably had the right and the reason to, because how he was treated. So I look at how I look at it as, you know, I would put myself in their shoes. You know,
Dr. Cornel West defines racism as privilege and power. So power obviously is the ability to affect your own and other people's lives. Privilege is the automatic power based on whether it's a female has a privilege over males or whatever, right? In a country of almost 400 million people, the dominant numeral is the Caucasoid Asian, yeah? So automatically, white people have privilege, and with privilege comes power. So, and I'm not saying this is the definition for everyone, but according to Dr. Cornel West, and I accept this theory, the so-called black man has never had power in America, so it's really hard for us to practice racism. We can be prejudiced because everyone has some type of prejudgment in them, but we can't really practice racism because it's a system, and the system of racism, the privilege and the power can affect multiple generations. If I get mad at someone because they're white and do something to them, that's not going to affect their 5 generations of their family. So I would say Tupac probably had some prejudice in him, but certainly he can't do racism. It's not a thing that we're allowed to do.
Yeah, I mixed them up. I meant to say prejudice.
Okay. No big deal. See, I can respect what you're saying and listen to your opinion and give my feedback without calling it basura, like this clown down here. I'm on his heels forever, yo. I'm good, man. Yeah. Don't have me back then, Heather. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care, yo. Like, I don't even gotta come to nothing for World War Collab, yo. I'm straight, man. Word is bond. Don't play with me, man. Word, man. Like I'm tired of people saying stuff and flying off at the mouth however they want. You don't know me from a hole in the wall, man. Yeah, that type of time. Whatever state you in, play with me. How about that? And I'm educated, but I can also be ridiculous and ignorant if you want it that way. Play with me, yo. Because you can't see me at rhyming, running, leaping, skateboarding, hands, nothing. So watch yourself, homeboy. You watch yourself. Where any state you in, you watch yourself. Play with me, yo. You want to rhyme? Because you can't see me at that. I'm Tupac. You better ask around about me, man. You better ask somebody about me. Ask somebody about me.
That's what it is. I mean, 10 chamber book zoo. Wu-Tang affiliate. If
you want to know about who you're talking to, you step up.
You want to know about hip hop? Kind of like the guy you want to ask. If you want to know about hip hop, it was definitely about mental health. Mental health is a real issue. We definitely shout out the sickle cell, which we're about to get to in a minute with Julius over here. But I've also been taken to the mental health because most of us were not taught about mental health or about emotional education because no one's teaching our parents. It's something, I won't say it's something new, but it's not something that everybody had access to in the culture. Like there's always been shame against mental health and in the culture. Oh, we don't go seek help, that's not for us, like stuff like that, like don't, and it's like, and it's passed on, like whoever from your family, whoever you're around, if your friends are thinking that and they're like, oh, that's not for us, you're gonna be thinking that's not for you.
I made it a race issue because I feel like it. Since you want to keep typing keyboard warrior, I made it a race issue. You can tell Chris whatever you want. I made it a race issue. How about that? Because it was the fact that your reflexive reaction to it was clearly because you were defending your white Jesus of rap. That's why it became a race issue. That's why. Because you didn't think before you spoke. That's why. Don't type. Come on, man.
It doesn't have to do with that.
And I'm not about to be apologetic for the way I'm going off, Heather. I'm not going to be apologetic for the way I'm going off because he wants to keep talking, because he wants to keep typing. Have something. You have no part of it. Good. Because I bet you can't make nothing pop in this business anyway. So who cares? Because I certainly don't. You made it a race issue because your reflex was to defend him, and I'm going to stand on that. And you said my opinion was garbage. And how is that fair? So now the fact that I'm standing up for myself, it's a problem, right? So if you slap me and I shoot you, maybe you shouldn't have slapped me. Like my mother always tells me, don't start none, won't be none. Point blank, period. I'm done talking, man.
He's out, Supreme. He's out.
I want to say, I might not, see how it escalated to that level, but I do understand because yesterday I shared some of my music on my group that I created. Chris is a part of it and everything too. And I was trying to get his opinion because yesterday I was video chatting with Chris and he was telling me, you should make a song about zombies because you're apocalypse. And I said, I actually have, let me share them to the chat. So I said, hey, what do you guys think? And I shared 3 of them. I said, which one's your guys' favorite? And this dude says, garbage. I said, what was that? And he goes, they're all garbage. So I understand exactly where you're coming from because that offended me and I kicked him out of the group. And then he ended up video chatting through Facebook. And I asked him, I said, well, what was that, bro? He goes, oh, that wasn't me or something. And I said, no, I think it was. And I said, you're entitled to your opinion, but there's a better way of expressing how you feel about it. You could say, I'm not feeling it, or, I disagree or something like that without saying it's garbage. Because at that point,
you don't have to cut anybody down. You don't have to cut anybody down. I mean,
yeah, because the word garbage,
that was a cut down. It was a cut down. And he has a right to feel upset about that because if you're gonna straight cut somebody down and you don't realize that you have a lot of knowledge in that area, like we have Hip Hop 101 every week at Worldwide Collaboration, and who's helping us out? You definitely help us out with that. You're not the only one. We have a lot of other people like Ice Dog and other people that's up in here. They're in the debate that's up in here. But as far as like knowing your hip hop, you definitely know that. You know what I mean? So
all I'm saying, Heather, is like what he's saying in the chat. I thought we were debating on Eminem.
I saw that. Yeah.
At what point did I say we're debating about Eminem? He didn't even let me finish my point about mental health, because that's actually what I was talking about. Right. I have nothing personal against Eminem. I don't know him. Just like he shouldn't have anything in the positive affirmative for Eminem, because you don't know him either, yo. Like, grow up.
Right. It's like how the music affected you. It's like I'll say this. When it comes to artists and stuff like that, I love like the music, the lyrics, the beat, the instruments, the arrangement. But when it comes to people's personal life, I don't always know everything, especially when it comes to relationships and stuff like that, because I don't actually know them personally. Unless I've actually met them. I've had a few people that's like in the industry that I bet, you know what I'm saying, even doing shows or stuff like that. But other than that, I can't be like, I say I know them. I can say I met them. Like, okay, I met Erykah Badu. I met Genuine. Like, I met them. I don't know them. I met them, like, doing shows and stuff like that. I met you after doing like the Good Times Roll. Eric Badu, I kind of snuck backstage. I wasn't supposed to, but I met her. I just wanted some advice. You know what I'm saying? Someone who I respected. So I wanted her advice. That's what that was about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with that. You know what I mean? It's again, mental health is real. People don't know how to deal with their emotions. So they automatically they're automatically on attack because they don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah. He got mental health.
That's what that is. That's exactly what
mental
that is.
Mm-hmm. Heather, Ninja, y'all know me. Have you ever heard me disrespect somebody? Just I don't know where I just go off.
No,
I
not even
never heard you do that.
All about code. You all
anybody
about respect. But you were he did cut you down though, and that's factual though. He did.
I've never
he did
heard
cut at
anybody
you.
set you off, and he was wrong for what he said.
Yeah.
Talk about your comment was garbage.
Well, also he cut him off too. He and I didn't mean to cut you off.
But just forgive him. Just forgive
him. He jumped right in.
Nobody's perfect at some point.
Yeah.
Just forgive him. Because obviously he.
No, I don't have any need. I don't have it, Ninja.
Yeah, but Supreme's not built like that, Ninja.
I don't need to know nobody like that.
He's not built that way. Like
I've never in my life heard anybody drop as many tracks and it is quality tracks as Supreme Allah.
Oh,
like on my SoundCloud, that's what I'm listening to. It's Supreme Allah.
Awesome.
So and compare that to Brad Cali, aka Cinematic.
I don't know. I never heard his music, but
I haven't either.
Mr. Julius,
what's up?
Where are you from, sir?
I'm from Cali.
Northern,
Central, Cali. Southern.
Oh, Los Angeles.
Take Southern California, but not the good part. It's the part that's not on maps. Oh. I'm in Victorville. So you ever heard of Barstow?
Yes.
Okay. Victorville is actually a lot nicer than Barstow, and people still don't know where it is unless they go to LA or Las Vegas a lot.
Mm-hmm. No, I have a comrade member in Victorville.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you go there or unless you know somebody there. You ever been?
No. I mean, we have members in 16 states in our music collective. So.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
He's got a whole comrade camp. He's also Rhythm Gang. Like he's 10th Chamber Brooklyn Zoo Wu-Tang affiliate. Like I'm saying, Killer Bees Wu-Tang.
Oh wow.
That's why he got so. Yeah. See, that's what the whole thing was about. He's like, dude, bro, you don't know who you're talking to. Like, if you wanted to go and ask somebody about like hip hop education, that's why we have a hip hop 101. We have different people that's within the worldwide collaboration that come in and discuss the hip hop because they're part of the hip hop. Like, I named off a few people, and that's why he was getting upset. He's like, yo, you cut me off, you disrespected me. And this and that, and like that's not cool. And then he's like, then he tried to back up off it, but he didn't realize, like he didn't know what I don't even think he realized what he said, who he was talking to, is what happened on there. But like again, people have to work on themselves because you never know, like anything could trigger you. People have different triggers with their mental health. Okay, so something if he says something, to him like he really likes Eminem, so he was like, I'm gonna get this, but in actuality. You didn't even give him a chance to say what he had to do with it, having to do with Eminem. He was using Eminem, discussing him to show how some of his lyrics were discussing his own mental health, and since Eminem's mental health that he described by his own self was not good at the time that he wrote some of those tracks, it wasn't necessarily helping some of those that had the mental health because they were doing the same behaviors that he was doing with the mental health issues that he had at the time. That's what he was discussing.
Right. That's what I was trying to talk about tonight.
That's what it was.
All of a sudden, I didn't even hear what he said because his mic was jacked up.
And that's why I said, get your technology right. If you're gonna sit here and tell people they're garbage, and the thing is the reflex to defend him was absurd because it's like, not only have I not even finished my point, you're defending a man you don't even know. And I don't know how old he is, nor do I care. You don't know. Please, no one tell me. I don't even want any information about this man in my head. But the fact of the matter is you're coming on here talking about, I'm going to defend someone I don't know to a person that you could know, and we could possibly do something positive together, but instead you tell me what I'm saying is garbage and I'm garbage, and then you got Chris here defending him, talking about he's a respectable person. What about the fact that I am a respectable person and I did not disrespect him? So now the Eminem effect has multiplied, where we got one white man telling another black man his opinion is garbage. Now another white man is defending him. And I'm supposed to just sit back and not say anything as if I don't have logic in my mind. I'm not doing it. And I'm not gonna forgive him, because I don't need to know someone like him, because he'll make this, because eventually a person like that who doesn't want to work on their own self and just talk to people they don't know respectfully, they're gonna make a person go back.
So I want to say,
that's not cute.
Yeah.
My bad. I wanted to say on how you said, the word positive, and that's what we're about, with this, it says right there on the banner, it said mental health matters, and that's what I'm about is the mental health part of things. And that's what Reckless Records is about. So when I created that group chat, and I had that guy tell me my stuff was garbage, I said, hey, that's not tolerated, because we're supposed to lift each other up, not kick each other down. I said, I know sometimes I struggle with my delivery. I could write like crazy, but when it comes to being on beat, or having the oomph on it, and saying it with attitude, I struggle with that. And I was actually collabing with Cinematic, and he gave me his feedback and said, you need to deliver it a little bit more harder than that. I said, okay, I respect that opinion, even though I didn't want to hear that. And it hurt my feelings, because the next morning I woke up, I was a little depressed, like, damn, it's never good enough, for him or my brother-in-law who raps with him all the time. I'm like, it seems like I'm always getting negative feedback, and it sucks. But that's the reality. If you aren't, at the level that you should be, people are going to tell you that. So, but when the other guy called me garbage yesterday, I was like, that's kind of just rude. You could say in a different way, because we're, like I said, like Heather said, mental health matters, and that you're supposed to be a part of that that society and that culture. And that's why I like King ISO, versus Eminem. They could go head to head. King ISO raps fast, Eminem might have the record or whatever. I personally think Twista still has the Guinness Book of World Record, but I would say Eminem would probably, have all the metaphors and all the, the wordplay and the everything, and maybe even get him on speed. I don't know, dude raps with Tech Nine and all that, so he might get the speed. But I can tell you right now, I'm gonna side up with King ISO because of his message.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I do support what Supreme Allah is saying about Eminem. There is a couple songs I heard of Eminem, like I said, that his message was, sometimes he raps about relationships or whatever, and that does get old. But like when you hear one song about beating your wife and killing her, putting her in the front seat of your car, have her waving at people with sunglasses on her and all that, it's like, yeah, for laughs and stuff. But then the next song you're rapping about, oh, boohoo, my relationship. That does kind of contradict itself. And that's where when I battled Eminem, he didn't battle back, of course, because I'm nobody to him. But I was pointing things out like that, where, this is what you're doing with your talent, and you're teaching these kids that look up to you, because I was one of them. And now I write and rap that way because of who I listened to. And if I would have listened to somebody more like King ISO when I was growing up, then I would be a whole different person. And so I do respect the positive. Like, I'm glad you used that word, Supreme, because positive to me, see, I'm Apocalypse, right? But I started off as Pestilence, and Pestilence is a horseman of apocalypse in the Bible and everything. And I didn't even know that at the time. I just switched names, and it was a coincidence. But to me, I made a rap and I said, well, Pestilence is negative and Apocalypse is positive. I said, I choose to go with Apocalypse because, that's my alter ego, but I'm like, he's going to win every time because of the positivity. So I don't always rap positive, and I don't always have a mental health message. Sometimes I'm just spitting, but where I'm at now is I would rather hear something that has a message and is deep and is positive than, all that, I would call it, compared to mental health related raps, it can be taken as garbage. You know, like,
okay.
I would say to me it's not, because I appreciate all the art. Like, even people that I don't even think is all that great, if they send me a track, I listen to it and I give them my feedback. But I tell them, you know, I appreciate you sending me that because I relate to these kind of bars right here that you said. Like, I'll pick out the positive in it and give them, because I used to be a manager at a cell phone store, and you have to coach your reps. And if they don't do something right, don't sell a phone or whatever, instead of telling them you suck, you're garbage, like you totally pissed that customer off or whatever, you tell them, you know, you could have done this a little bit differently. But first you start with a compliment, and then you tell them what they can improve on, and then you end it with another compliment. It's a compliment sandwich. You send them out the door.
Yeah, that's different than what happened. You're absolutely right. If someone needs done something and maybe the notes are wrong or they're off rhythm or something like that, and it doesn't sound very good, instead of being like, "Oh, you suck, you're crap, you're garbage," be like, "Look, is this what you love to do?" And you tell me yes. I say, "Is this what you want to do? If you could have a choice to do anything, if you got paid, you didn't. Is this what you would do?" And you gonna tell me yes. Okay, let's get serious then. You need some help with these things. Let me show you how you can improve yourself, so you can put your best performance forward. You can put your best writing forward. If you're having trouble with writing, try this, try that. Try writing a theme and writing it 3 different ways.
Yeah.
Different
we
ways.
can all use help, you know, like,
you know what I'm saying. But there's a difference between besides criticizing somebody and being disrespectful and being constructively criticizing. If you're constructive, that means you're trying to help. And if you just criticize people or you just do something that's disrespectful, then you're not trying to help. Like, again, obviously that was a trigger for that. Obviously, Eminem was a trigger for this guy. I'm not really like, you know, again.
Yeah, homosexuality. That's the trigger. That's probably why. What'd you say, Julius?
But now, go ahead, Julius. I was just
going to say, when you're not going for a constructive criticism, generally people do one of 2 things. When they're giving somebody some feedback, it's either they're trying to give constructive criticism. Sometimes they know how, sometimes they don't, or they're trying to make a joke out of what that person is presenting to them, and say, "Oh, well, that's, you know, things like, oh, that's garbage. Hey, we're gonna laugh at this. I'm not gonna say it how it is. This is more so to focus on how bad it is, so I can get a laugh out of it, or so I can feel better about myself." A lot of times that's how people do. So if you're not giving constructive criticism, you're generally trying to downplay and make a joke out of what someone else may feel is very hard work. So there's no need for that. Like, right. What is that going to do anyways? What's that going to do if you're trying to bash them? It's not going to help them improve. It's not going to help you hear anything better from them later. All it's doing is taking a moment to put somebody down and to laugh at them.
Well, that's why I use the word diminish. You try to diminish and downplay, my opinion.
See, and I would have liked to hear both opinions had it not started off the wrong way, because it would have been a good debate. Yeah, you know, well, I think,
you know, sir, I wasn't trying to debate about Eminem. I was coming to talk about mental health.
Right.
The crazy part.
And this is why we need to talk about. This is exactly the whole reason why we need to talk about mental health, because people don't have it. People don't know about it. They're not educated on it. Like, okay, I go and I educate myself on stuff, and obviously Supreme goes and educates himself on stuff. I used to pick up a book and read, pick up a magazine and read. I'm reading, I'm writing. Hey, I see you, neighborhood Trump. I'm not ignoring you. We see the homie in the background. We support you too, neighborhood Trump in the building. He waving at me. It's what's up? You got
Trump in the building.
He trying to throw signs. He throwing up like what you want me to do on the west side. You doing out there? You doing out them signs? Throw some signs, brother. But no, this is why we need people talking about it. And when people when they're leaders and when they're very knowledgeable. And I want to say leaders in the industry, when they know what they're talking about, people need to be listening. You need to figure out who's talking before you start. You're like, oh, this and that. Wait. Find out who he is and what is he talking for. You trying to talk about, oh, this and that. Well, maybe just because you like this guy, that's your personal preference. But if we're gonna go based off of content is presented, we know what the content is.
But he was missing
already Mount Spaghetti. That's what the content is.
Yeah, but he was missing Supreme's point. Supreme wasn't saying that Eminem was trash. He was saying that his on the mental health note, his content.
What I just said
concerning mental health.
It's not helpful. If you got someone with mental health issues, then they might be following that. Like I said, I don't know the most Eminem lyrics, but I know there's from 8 Mile. There's vomit on the sweater already. Mount spaghetti. He talking about how he had issues with mental health issues with his mother, and then how that's affecting him now. And then he goes to talking about all these different things. And there was some abuse with the mother, and there was a lot of mental health issues going on. So when the way that he was acting out, that played out in the music, but that played out in real life for him. That's why it wasn't the best example, because he went through all those things, and it's net. So if you're gonna say, "Oh, we're gonna push it up there," we can't do that. Now, if you're gonna say, "Hey, he made it through," then we can give him a round of applause. We can give him Eminem a round of applause. Hey, you made it through, buddy. You did the mental health work, and you made it through.
But making it seem like it's okay to just dwell in madness. No, I don't care how good it sounds.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
Sound
we don't want to do that.
to the
we don't want to glorify that either.
But yeah, to say it's okay to dwell in depression, madness, pills, suicide, you might be triggering someone. It's not okay. It's just not. And the fact of the matter is that, like, guess what, yo? 9 times out of 10, if I'm triggered, I'm in America. So that means, like, I am not in Nigeria where we are the dominant factor. So guess what? It probably is going to be about race, because I see what he typed. Oh, you made it about race. Everything's about race in America, whether you like it or not. You better pick up a book. But possibly you have mental health issues, Mr. whatever your name is, because of the fact that you are infatuated and have homosexual tendencies towards Marshall Mathers. But we're not judging.
I mean, I don't know. I hope I'm not coming off with homosexual tendencies because I stuck up for Marshall Mathers a little bit too. But
that's how you were not disrespectful.
No,
that's
you came from an educated point of view. You're saying your opinion. There's nothing wrong with that.
You gave your opinion without being disrespectful. That's pretty much what it was. You didn't snub anybody. You didn't cut anybody down. You didn't talk smack about anybody or anything like that. That's what it was. It was cutting him down in a disrespectful manner. And
started it off on the wrong foot.
That's what it was. That was definitely what it was. But since we're talking about health and mental health, now I know we have some other health issues we wanted to talk about. Julius, you want to talk about some of the sickle cell because you dealt with those health issues. Besides with mental health, we started out talking about with the ADD or the ADHD and like how that was like affecting.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then we started talking about the other mental health issues because overall, people really need to start talking about and fixing their mental health and seeing what triggers them, what helps, what doesn't help, what makes it better, worse, all these different things. People need to go and fix that and do the work because you're not alone. There's a lot of people that if you don't fix yourself, then your life's not going to be so hot because it's going to pop out at one point or the other. And if you stuff it down, then it's going to come rear its ugly head later on. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing with the illness. If you have an illness, you don't want to take care of yourself. It's gonna rear its ugly head at some point. If you just pretend like, oh, you're well all the time, but you're not, you're like, oh, and you can just eat whatever you want. Next thing you eat the wrong thing up, you're in the hospital because you knew you weren't supposed to. You knew you were supposed to live by a certain set of guidelines. So, what are your guidelines? I know that you've dealt with sickle cell, but that for you, that you're at this point, you've been able to kind of like keep it more at a maintenance level where you're not having as many flare-ups and crises and stuff like that. Can you tell me some about that?
All right, so I don't know. When I mentioned sickle cell, there's a little bit of an imposter syndrome kind of thing that happens in my mind because I know that there are so many people that when they deal with it, they're in hospitals as young people, as adults. They're in hospitals so much throughout the year. Me personally, when I was younger, I was in hospitals so much. Like I'm talking about every school year I was having to miss so much school because I was consistently in the hospital. Part of that is because there wasn't a lot. I'm 40 years old, born 1984. There wasn't a lot of knowledge about sickle cell out there, especially in my area, which was there were a lot of white people. Sickle cell wasn't really talked about. Doctors misdiagnosed me for like spinal meningitis, like just whatever might fit. So by the time I found out, I was 7 years old and in and out of hospitals. Once I got a little bit older, it was all about maintenance. And here's the thing. If you were to see my cabinet, I don't really eat as healthy as I should. And that could that could be a problem that's presented in other ways later. But with sickle cell, I learned that it's not just about trying to stop things like just on a daily basis. It is overall maintenance. It is, for me, I stay so water strapped, it's not even funny. Even at work, my employees that work under me know I come in with like 5 bottles of water, along with a big old tub, big old jug of water. I stay hydrated. I do my best not to put myself in spots that are going to cause a flare up. I don't know if your kids dealt with this or anybody else has kids who dealt with this, but when I was younger and going to school, my parents felt bad because they found out like, oh, we were pretty much killing our son because I was going to gym class and just giving everything I had. Sickle cell can be triggered by overexertion and not having that, that hydration, and you're just going and going and going when you're not taking care of your body. So now, again, lots of water. I was supposed to go skydiving. Before I even went, I was like, okay, I know we have a problem with high altitudes. So let me check on this. And I was ready to risk it all. Women will do something to you. Huh?
That's a no.
Yeah, it's a no. But I was talking to this woman, and I was trying to impress her because she's like, I've never gone skydiving. I want to go. And so when I called the sickle cell organization in the area, I'm like, hey, so how bad is skydiving? They're like, yeah, you don't want to do that. I said, is it like kill you bad, or is it like a little crisis I might get through bad? I'm trying to impress this woman. They said, we can't tell you what to do, but you don't want to do that. It's making decisions that in the long run are going to take care of you. They're going to help you out. I know that with a lot of things, I stay conscientious. Did I even use that word right? Supreme? Conscientious. Yeah, I believe that's the word.
Stay conscious and aware. Yeah.
Conscious and aware. Yeah. Of everything I do in my daily. There were a couple of times I went to work and I was like, I can't let my team down. I'm a supervisor. I need to be there. I started going through a sickle cell crisis right before going to work. Like I felt it coming on a little bit, like the night before and just in the days leading up to. But I was like, yeah, my team needs me. And it was almost disheartening seeing my team like with so much concern about me. Because even they were like, yeah, you shouldn't have come in. You look horrible. And because of that, I was out another week. So for me, my thing is, and you, Heather, you do a lot of, like you talked about your eating, your diet, and, doing all those things. Me, it's mostly, it ends up making sure I stay bundled up in the cold weather. That sets off crises. Making sure I have plenty to drink. As soon as I feel even a little bit of something coming on, it's a bunch of water. It's Gatorade, replenishing electrolytes. That's what the doctor told me when I was younger. I've stuck by it. And believe it or not, it's doing my best to stay away from medicine, like a lot of medicines, until I actually have to have it, until I can't function without it. And even then, I don't go for like Percocet. I did develop a habit at one point because I went to the doctor. I said, yeah, I think I'm starting to go through sickle cell crisis. They said, well, here's some Percocet, and gave me just a bunch of it. And I was like, okay, well, and it helped. It did help. And
yeah, but what else did it do? Well, what else did it do? You don't want to talk about it. Stop you up though. It causes other effects. It messes you. It messes you up. It messes you up bad. They don't talk about everything that you take as a side effect. And like you said, the medications. My children are. Check this out. My children are not on any medications for the sickle cell like that. They're not taking the penicillin. The others are because they all had a side effect. We did the penicillin when they were younger, and now they have bowel issues.
Amoxicillin. That was the one that
the penicillin.
I don't need to mess with. Yeah. So now, if I take anything, it's it's ibuprofen, and just enough to where I can either try to get to a decently comfortable place to sleep. It's now I will tell you, y'all know what Flexol 454 is?
Are you talking about Flexeril?
Flexol.
I don't know what Flexol is. I know what Flexeril
Oh man, that was like, you know what it is, Ninja? I'm looking at your face, and I thought you knew what it was.
I have never tried. I've never heard of that.
Okay, Flexol is like Ben Gay, but it's
Oh,
like
maybe I have heard of it. Is
Oh
what?
yeah, it's like to the 50th power. That stuff is strong. It'll clean out your nasal passages and everything all at the same time. But I use that like rubs, ointments, salon patches, things like that. But I don't ingest too much to help me take care of it anymore because, again, I developed a habit. My body and I started having to depend on something to help me out with the pain. So it's basically maintenance, and it's doing your best to push through it. To teach your body to, hey, you know what? I don't need to try to just rely. I'm going to be in pain anyways, whether I take medicine or not. But I need to take just enough to where I can function and push through that pain. Learn to deal with some of it. That's all I've. Hi, Kimberly. How are you? Kimberly from Facebook.
That's Kimberly.
I just stop in the middle of it.
Yeah, she's one of the wwcfam. She's got a show that comes on throughout the week. Kimberly Divine show. Thanks for support, family.
Oh, okay.
We appreciate y'all showing out. Yeah.
Now Kimberly performs as well.
She's a podcaster.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
We do any artist business, all that stuff. So if you like a lot of people are artists, like producers, composers, writers, lyricists, singers, rappers, stuff like that. But we also do have people that do other stuff. I mean, we have people that write scripts, that write books. That, you know what I mean? We have people that do magazines, podcasters. Really? I mean, there's like all kind of stuff. You could, if you want to come on, we got a comedian. You know what I mean? You know, whatever you do. You know what I mean? We're like networking together to do different projects and support each other. C2C Anthony was on here. He's actually helping me make. We're working on creating the first strains of cannabis, medical cannabis, specifically to treat the ailments of sickle cell.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I'd like to sign up for that. We first had this particular blueberry strain that was originally approved for this man's mother for cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked very well for that for the pain. So we'd like to use that for the pain. And then we have a couple other strains that we're actually looking for so that we can grow that and use the extraction so that it can be used like in a gummy or like in an organic juice, stuff like that. And then people want to take the other options, they can use those other methods. But those will be the ones that we're offering the most of, obviously. You know, some people like the other people for like the gummy, and like I said, the gummy and like an organic juice, of course, you know, that makes it much easier, right? It's healthier. You know, I'm sure there's some people that want to smoke. That's up to them. You know, smoking probably not advised for sickle cell. Vaporizing is different because they're not getting the smoke and it goes directly, and you get the medicine directly. But again, I know the ones that most people are more comfortable with the medicine is usually the gummy or like a juice, something like that. But we'll have other stuff available. But that's what we're working is the extract. Do that and do the extract, so we can have the medication. There's three things that stuck out to me really big. It's the pain relief, the pain medication, vasodilation, which means increased blood flow and increased oxygenation, right? And it's anti-inflammatory, which is what causes sickling, the inflammation.
Yeah. It is.
So, and that way, if somebody does end up needing to use it on a daily basis, it's much safer, and there's much less side effects.
Okay. Now, on the note of that, of the inflammation and things like that, one thing I will say that I think a lot of people don't do is properly educating themselves on sickle cell. I had it for years, and I didn't actually start looking into what all it entailed, the whys behind why the blood cells start doing this and all that, until maybe 10 years ago. You know, I was 30 years old before I started trying to understand my body and why, you know, these things could happen. Educate people, educate the people around you. because for a lot of people, it's just a Make-A-Wish Foundation thing for them, where, oh, well, you know, this person, yeah, a little sickle cell patient. Why aren't you skinny? Because I eat too much. There are other things that happen with sickle
They don't
cell.
even know we're included, though, Julius. They don't even know that there are sickle cell people and family members. They don't even know that we're included. They don't know that we're included with St. Jude. They don't know that when they do the St. Jude house, it's not just for the cancer patients. It's also for the sickle cell patients. We get left out. Now that I don't know, maybe it's because they're listening on Facebook or the other places I'm at. But now I'm starting to see ads from. They're like, oh, now they want now that I'm trying to come out with things that help our people. Now they're like, oh, they're gonna do this medical trial, but they didn't have anything before. They had nothing, and nobody would listen. Nobody was trying the natural stuff. I mean, like people didn't know about chlorophyll or any of the other different things, because chlorophyll is basically the plant equivalent of the hemoglobin.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
So
I
mean, there's
said
so
that like
many.
I knew that for sure, but
Yeah.
I had heard something about that recently. So that
we weren't consistent enough. We weren't consistent enough with it, and then you have to refrigerate it because you don't want it to go bad or go moldy. Like a lot of times you use the alfalfa sprouts, and probably if you were wanting to grow the microtrees, you could probably grow that in your house and use the blender juicer thing and do that optimally. So I'm looking into that, all of that, because none of us were taught any of that. And then I went to nursing school, so I was taught about all the pills and the all that, but they don't really teach you so much about they call it CAM, or alternative medication.
Right.
Right.
The reason why
that's where it's really at.
The reason why I don't know what's going on, but it's on a slight delay, so I wasn't trying to cut you off, sis.
No,
I'm not sure why it's doing that, but so the reason why things like sickle cell research hasn't become more money poured into it is because it's very similar to childhood cancer, where if they come up with a cure. Well, if you can give a 3-year-old that has leukemia or some other form of cancer a cure, you're only going to treat them one time. So there's more money in the maintenance than there is in the solution. Yeah. So you're doing very good work, Heather, with bringing awareness to it, because if it becomes more of a solidified in people's mind as a passion project, not to call it a project, I'm not, diminishing the devastating effects of sickle cell anemia, but it becomes more in people's minds as a in vogue thing and a passion project. People will be more susceptible to helping fund it. So the more noise we can make, the better. It's just like people have been overdosing on heroin forever. It wasn't until it started to affect a certain class and not race, but a financial class, that it became all of a sudden a person injecting heroin or fentanyl is a quote unquote disease. But when a lower class financially was doing it, it was just a habit or an addiction. Now it's a disease. Yeah. So it's great that you're doing the mixtape, that hopefully we can get out by the end of May. Because when you mix the music with it, it becomes very powerful. And that was just my 2 cents. There's more interest in the maintenance, because if I can keep you alive and just barely subsisting, you'll be a customer forever until you are, no longer on the planet. Yeah. We got to make as much noise as possible.
We knew it wasn't working for us. We tried everything that we were supposed to do, and it wasn't working for us anymore. And even though I was already pretty much eating healthy, I had to go in there and say, hey, if I'm eating healthy, let me go back and look at it again and see, what am I eating here? And you have to look and you're like, oh, they added new ingredients, or they changed the naming of the ingredients, and they're trying to slide this in as that. And I'm always constantly label reading. I got sick when I was in 4th grade and ended up having to learn that I needed to eat whole. I learned what whole grain was at 4th grade. With the trait, I ended up going to the hospital after eating white bread. It's fun in my household. If it's white, it ain't right. If it's grains and it's white, we don't eat that. It ain't coming. We can't do that. We do like whole grain, either like the brown rice. They don't. I like quinoa. They don't do that so much. But like whole wheat, like the whole grains. You got barley in there, something like that. You don't eat whole grains.
Quinoa is good for you. Good antioxidant. Yeah. My mom makes quinoa as opposed to rice sometimes.
I like that. Quinoa. You gotta work on the switch over. Quinoa it's actually a complete protein. They say it's the grain, but it's like an almond. It's got so many like proteins and nutrients in there. It's like a macronutrient dense food. And you definitely want the nutrient dense foods. Like if you're looking at, like, people don't know this about food. The number one thing you need, they think it's vegetables. It's fruit. Fruit is the ones without the electricity, lights. Fruit is number one. I think it's, I want to say it's like an 8, like for your energy that you get out of that. For the fruit, I think it's like a 6 for the vegetables, and it's a 4 for the meats. Is how much energy you can extract when you're consuming these foods. So you're like, oh, I need my protein. But if you eat quinoa, it's a complete protein. It's the beans and the rice all together in one.
Neighborhood Trump.
You know what I'm saying?
The main thing that I got rid of in my diet was milk.
Yeah, I'm lactose intolerant.
I read it. We all are. I read a book called The Milk Conspiracy, and it's funny because the guy who wrote it used to be a DJ for Hot 97, and he quit, and he's a holistic healer, and I forgot his other title, but someone gave me the book when I was locked up, and he broke down how, similar to the cereal thing, around World War I, people were worried about a food shortage, so they pushed the idea that milk is good for you. And it never really was a thing. It really wasn't, as far as people thinking milk is like, so
until the 90s.
Got milk.
The milk ads, right? And they can't do it anymore because people are getting sick from it. I recently read an article about that because everywhere you would look, it was a hip thing. Everybody wanted to do that. It was cute. Oh, it's cute. Got milk. You know what I mean? And everybody had the milk mustache, and it was a thing, right? But it's not. It actually robs your bones of the calcium. It breaks them down. It causes osteopenia, which is the precursor to osteoporosis and osteoporosis. It also robs it from your nails and your teeth. And then the mucus in there is the base. Mucus is the base root of all disease.
So the first lie that they told was that milk adds calcium to your bones. You cannot do any form of ingestion add calcium to your bones. All you can do is stop the acceleration of loss of calcium, but nothing you do is going to add calcium to your body. You can only just stem the tide, right? You have to look at it like this. The silverback gorilla will feed its youngling, that's Star Wars head now, feed the youngling milk until they're about 4 months old. After that, they are vegetarians. A silverback gorilla, a full-grown male silverback gorilla, can flip over a small car, but they're vegetarians. That tells you a lot right there, right? So, and I'm not being haughty or bragging, but people tell me I don't look like I'm almost 45 years old. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's diet.
It is.
Red meat, beef at a minimum, as little as possible. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a good example. He's in there 80. He'll consume beef once a month, no milk. My mom uses coconut milk, if milk at all. If it's going to be chocolate, dark chocolate. And a lot of these things, like Prodigy, right? Because he passed from sickle cell crisis. Right before, that's something else. But right before he passed, he had gotten on a real health kick, and his health was rapidly improving because he read books like Eat to Live from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which it's not about being a Muslim or not. It's about that book is beneficial. So everything, like Heather pointed out, mucus is a huge factor and culprit. And you have to look at it like this. When you're dealing with like milk, what other species on planet Earth consumes another mammal's secretion? That alone is like super demon paws. You know what I mean? Like you don't see a giraffe drinking a lion's milk. It don't go. But us as humans, we're consuming cows, whatever you want to call it.
You don't see cows consuming breast milk, right?
No.
Although I did see something weird about they're trying to come out with a breast flavored milk. I was like, that's definitely weird.
Well, that's people have.
What about that like bird flu or whatever that gets?
I'm just saying, no, you're absolutely right. That it's each animal. I mean, they have the milk for the baby. That's what they're built in for. The cow's supposed to drink the calf's going to drink the cow milk. A child is going to drink the mother's milk. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. That's what it's supposed to work. And after that period that they need the nutrients and the fat that comes directly from the mother has everything the child needs. Whether it's a human child, whether it's the cow and the calf, whether it's a goat and the kid, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's a Joey and the kangaroo, you know what I'm saying? That thing. It's the same. That's they get the mother's milk and then they move on. They need other nutrients and they find that in their environment. And most it's vegetarianism. It's not, you're not really supposed to be eating that. And a lot of problems that people have, like, okay, when you have, it's all mucus related. If you have problems with your eyes, the cataracts, do you know what that's from? And the glaucoma, well, it's from the mucus. See, the glaucoma is when it's in the vessels, and then the cataracts is when the mucus films over your eyes, and you have to cut the mucus off because their body never cleared the mucus up. So every day you're stuffing it in. If it doesn't, what you put in, it has to come out. If it doesn't come out, then it builds up and it builds up and then it's built up, and now it's in your eyes. And if it's in your eyes and it goes to your brain, then what's happened? You probably got Alzheimer's, dementias, and stuff like that. Or if it's not from that, then it's from the heavy, like the aluminum in your deodorant people were using. But I use aluminum-free deodorant. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But we didn't have that option. Like my grandma didn't have the option of aluminum-free deodorant. She tried that crystal stuff back in the day, like back in the 90s. She had this crystal one. I'm like, that thing didn't work. But she was trying something, but they didn't have anything else. They didn't have anything else. They had the little crystal thing, and it didn't work. And they had all the brands that people use, Degrees of like all the brands that people regular brands, Secret, all that stuff. But they all have aluminum, except for the brands that have altered it and they don't have the aluminum. But I don't use those brands. I use like natural brands that they didn't have when I was a kid. They didn't have that stuff. It's like when you know better, you do better. And if you know better, but it's not available, either you gotta outsource source it somewhere else. You gotta make it yourself. Mm-hmm. I'm at the point now where I might have to make my own lotion because even when I buy stuff at Whole Foods, they're still slipping in more and more chemicals in there. Stuff I used to be able to use like a year ago, they're putting more and more chemicals in there. And people that do eat dairy, watch out because they're putting carrageenan in all your dairy products unless they're organic. So if you are gonna eat like milk products, you should definitely eat organic. So it doesn't have growth hormones in it. It doesn't have pus in it because the non-organic stuff probably definitely has blood and pus in there. They don't give those cows a rest, and then all that goes right in there, in there.
So I'm gonna drop in a private chat from when I interviewed Kevin W. Reese about the medical mafia. It's an interview I did years ago on YouTube, but I no longer have control over that YouTube channel. You know what happened, Heather, with to control over my life, right? Whatever. Yeah. So I dropped it in the private chat for anybody that's interested. Because I used to have a podcast like you have, Heather, where I interview people. So yeah, because I discovered his book, and he just breaks down like a lot of natural remedies, tumor, a lot of things. But everything.
Believe it or not, like lemon water, if you drink that every day, that'll get like it's an astringent. It detoxes you. It'll flatten your stomach. It'll help you with your circulatory system, your excretory system. Like it'll brighten your skin. You could what do you want to do with it? You want to clean your house? You want to clean your face? You want to make your garbage disposal smell clean? What you want to do with the lemons? You know what I'm saying?
Lemons, yep.
You can do so much with a lemon. It's ridiculous. They say you got lemons, make lemonade, but there's so much more that you could do with a lemon than that. It's ridiculous. It's like cheap. They're 25 cents. Like if you're getting regular commercial ones, and you have to watch out and make sure they don't have funguses on there. Like if it's got the Zoll on there, look at the if it's a bag of lemons, pick it up and flip it over and make sure it only says whack or lac-based resin. If it says anything with a dazzle, something Zoll, you got fungicide on that stuff, and it's all inside your fruit, and you don't want to eat that crap.
Yep.
What is it that gets stuff that stains out of clothes like really easily? Like, is it like white wine or is it
vinegar? More vinegar.
White vinegar.
Yeah.
Is it vinegar?
Vinegar is used in so much stuff. It's not even.
And it's also fabric softener. It smells bad, but it actually would make your clothes soft without having to use all the chemical products. Because everything that smells good, it's got phthalates in it and forever chemicals, and you just put it in your clothes. Well, I don't put that in mine. I have the dry balls. So, but if you put that in there, then down here, whatever the brand is, like, It smells good. And you're smelling that in, you're just smelling all the chemicals. And then you wonder why, and they're obesogens. So you wonder why your estrogen levels are high and you're packing weight around your stomach because you probably have all those smelling agents all in your house with the phthalates. And it makes
Jay Kennedy wants to know, can he submit a song to play?
I guess so. Yeah, he can submit it.
Oh, that's in the comments.
Yeah, he did. I saw that. Yeah, you can submit it. You can submit it.
I submitted a song to you to play.
Yes,
I know. Not to get off topic.
Not today. But yeah. No, with the sickle cell, that's why the health is really important. That's why I wanted to know what you were doing because, and now what type of sickle cell do you have? If you don't mind sharing.
I have the anemia. I have anemia.
Well, no, listen. So there's like if you have the sickle cell disease, there's kind of three types. There's sickle cell SS, sickle cell SC, and sickle cell SE. Do you know which one you have?
If I'm not mistaken, I had the SS.
Okay, that's what we call super strong. That's what we call the super strong. Of course, it does vary from person to person, but that's what we call the super strong. So I mean, and we're not diminishing any other types of sickle cell. We love everybody with sickle cell. We support you all, but we know that there's all different levels within that. And even thalassemia, if you think sickle cell gets looked over, thalassemia is actually in the same category as sickle cell. And not only do I have kids with sickle cell, but I have one that's got sickle and thalassemia. And that's a whole different type of sickle cell disease. And so you either get it really, really bad, or you can get lucky and get the milder version. My son got very lucky and got the milder version. I was very thankful because if you get, it's like sickle beta thalassemia. If you get the beta minus or beta 0, those children don't live long. They need a lot of blood transfusions.
Oh, that's
I want to say that it's the beta. I think it's the beta minus that's a few months, and then the beta 0 that like it's like early childhood. It's not optimal. It's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And thalassemia is like that too. So.
And that's one thing I did want to point out is that I did say like I don't look as much at what I eat. And I do pretty good. I do pretty good with sickle cell. That's my case. I do think it's important for everyone to, and I need to make time for it myself. But I think it's important for everybody anybody who has it, or anybody who knows people who have it, to kind of study up on what's good to eat, like to study up on better intake into the body, because. Especially this friends, one thing that really has helped me is that I had friends that saw me go through a sickle cell crisis. They visited me in the hospital, saw how bad off it was, and I couldn't even go to a party and drink unless I had a bunch of water, because they're like, no, he doesn't need to be drinking unless he has some water, because dehydration from the liquor will jack you up if you don't get yourself right. And just having a support system that understands and has your back with it, that's where the food comes in too. People that know that you need to do better, like you do for your kids. Okay, this is how we're going to eat, because in the long run, this is going to be better for you. And it's going to take care of, make sure you're not putting stuff in that's going to set off a crisis.
Yep.
All that stuff is very important. It's one of the things I need to get better at. But I think that everybody, if they hear me, it's look at that, really research and understand what your body needs, what you're putting in your body, and understand that not everybody is lucky enough to not always be struggling with it.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's why I'm working on that. I'd like to have I don't know when, but I'd like to have my book out sometime this year before Sickle Cell Awareness Month of September. It's called Eating for Sickle Cell, and it talks about things. It's going to be talking about the water. It's going to be talking about the whole grains, what you should be eating the fruits, making sure that you're not eating the GMOs, genetically modified organisms, because what it is those are inflammatory foods. They have chemicals like Roundup and stuff like that, heavily pesticides in there, and that will definitely cause flare-ups. Any of the foods that we grew up with that you like to eat, like the sugary cereals, like all those chips and stuff like that, you need to throw that out the window. If you like snacks and you like stuff like that, get that organic version. And then you still have to read the labels and make sure they're not slipping stuff in there. If you want if you want cheeses and your kids like that, don't rob your kids. Go to your local health food store, Find the organic version. Look at the ingredients and see which one's got the better ingredients. It's got maybe more fruits and vegetables in there, whatever it is. Some of them got fruits and vegetables with a little cheese flavor, whatever it is. Find the organic version that's going to work for your family and eat that if they want a snack, if they want a treat. Don't buy them the regular Cheez-Its brand that's got all the GMOs in there with all the inflammation and send them to the hospital. And it's tough because the kids have the parties, and if they don't, all areas don't have the access to the organic. So if you can't get organic, then you have to try to get the non-GMO. But sometimes non-GMO is still GMO if they add certain stuff to it. So you really
got to think about
school. What you're getting in there. What are they eating at school? Like my kids did the best when we were through COVID because we did a trial. My vision was to have us go completely non-GMO and organic for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because kids are going to want to eat 3 meals. Like I can eat too. I know do fasting. When you're a kid, you're hungry. You need the fuel. You're building stuff. So let them eat the 3 meals if they want. If they want to, then don't fuss over them. You know what I'm saying? But that part, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you only eat twice a day. Oh, you're baby. Now, if you're sick, if you're recovering, if you got a broken bone, yeah, you may need to eat those 3 times a day. Do you have to be big? No. But you want stuff that's going to build that. If you broke a bone, you want to be eating protein, something that builds it up. You know what I mean? If you eat meat, you'll be eating like chicken breast and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Or like those organic chicken thighs and having a meal with it, with your, put stuff in the slow cooker or whatever, that kind of thing. But you want to be, and if you don't eat the meat, you want to have like beans in there, like the quinoa, or some different stuff, vegetables in it, whatever you eat. Maybe you're eating organic sweet potatoes, purple potatoes, or something like that. You can put potato in anything, you know what I mean? Green beans, whatever. I mean, whatever it is, you know what I mean? So it's like really limitless of what you can do, but getting the healthy food to you is another thing. Because like I know when my kids go to the hospital, they feed them a lot of time. It's not so good. When my son had his gallbladder taken out for sickle cell about a year ago, they fed him chicken tenders and French fries. And then when I went to go get my kid Chipotle, because it was the closest thing that was going to be open, it was late, and there wasn't going to be any other healthy choices. It was going to be only fast food restaurants. So I have something where I could get some vegetables and some leaner protein and a little guac. I did light cheese. I did light guac because I knew he had his out, and then we did the chicken with the vegetable, like the beans and stuff, the vegetables, and it was like the salad with some brown rice. And then they were fussing at me because they're like, you got him Chipotle. I'm like, well, did you see what they gave him? I'm like, Chipotle was the best thing I could get at like 10 o'clock at night before everything was going to close. There wasn't anything else. And how am I going to cook him something from the grocery store? I'm going to heat up a microwavable meal. Chipotle at that point was my best option. Do you know what I mean? I mean, honestly, and they're like, you can't have this and make sure it's light guac. And I'm like, I'm the one that's telling you that they're giving him the wrong food. I'm having to go purchase this with like 12, 13, 14 bucks of my own money to get him something because they're not providing. And every meal, the potatoes are not real potatoes or instant potatoes. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like the vegetables are canned. Can we at least get frozen? You understand? It's not that bad for a frozen bag of vegetables. It depends on where you buy it though.
Actually, a frozen bag is actually cheaper than the cans, if I'm not mistaken.
It depends on where it just depends on where you get it. You know what I mean? You have to and then sickle cell really needs to watch corn. I would say no soybean unless it's like soy sauce. Because it's inflammatory. And if you do eat it, it needs to be organic. Some people like soy. If that's part of it and you're vegetarian, you use that. And it should be organic. If it's not organic, it's GMO and it's highly inflammatory. It can cause a crisis. That kind of stuff like that. I'm not knocking it because I used to eat tofu back. I was like pesco vegetarian back when I was like a teenager. And then I used to do like the fermented tempeh and like do like the tempeh subs. You know what I mean? But like
the thing with soy is that you have to be careful for males because it'll start to produce estrogen.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Too much of it. Yeah, you don't want to overdo it with soy.
That's why I said I would limit your soy to just soy sauce when you're doing Asian food, and organic if at all possible. Like a tablespoon, probably the tablespoon if it's throughout the whole dish. You know what I'm saying? It may or may not be organic, but if you're cooking it, usually organic. You know what I'm saying? You want to limit your exposure to those as much as possible. That's why I'm trying to put that in there because a lot of people don't know. And then you have people that have taken it more to the next level than me. If I was by myself, if it was just like, I was 20 something, then of course, I could be a super disciplined vegetarian, vegan person doing this, but I got 6 kids, you know what I mean? I got my grandma, and I have to accommodate that. I'm not making 5 different meals. I make one thing that I can accommodate. They don't like the meat. I put this to the side without the meat. And we've had to switch it up because it got to match it. Yeah, we to the point where I got someone wanted like a vegetarian pasta and someone wanted the meat in it because the meat gets weird from the grocery store and you got to switch it up. Then we had to go to the pasture raised beef, but you can't always get that. That place is going to close at a certain time. So Everything you do has got to be like with intention. Either you're eating towards health or you're eating towards your death. Now, everybody wants to have like a nice little treat taste sometimes. Sure, go ahead, you can have a treat, live a little, but that don't mean you need to be eating that stuff every day. And then if you're gonna have a treat, try to go to a place that's gonna use better quality ingredients. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna have dairy, make sure it's real cream. If it's gonna be the real cream, make sure it's organic. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna live a little, do it the right way. Like make your own. Get the little beaters to make your own cream. It's just heavy cream and some powdered sugar. Whip that up with some vanilla and skip yourself the propellant. But a lot of people don't have time for all that. It's just you have to make choices, and then you can't always. Sometimes you have to cheat a little bit because you're not in the best situation. Maybe you don't use the microwave, but maybe you got to go somewhere. You're at a trip. You're at the airport. You got to use the microwave. But you gotta maybe all they have is Subway. So now you got to figure out what can you eat from there. Maybe you're eating a cheese sandwich with vegetables because you don't eat meat. You gotta figure something out wherever you're at. What's the best thing I can get over here? If I had to go through all my choice of regular fast food restaurants, the only one I probably would eat at would be Wendy's. And if I had to say that, why? Because I could get a baked potato and an orange juice with a side salad.
And there's his bomb. Their baked potatoes aren't bad at all.
That's all I'm saying. I'm sure that's got the heavy pesticides in it. But if I need to get something and I need something quickly. And I need something where I can get that's the best health content where I can't get a baked potato at any other fast food
restaurant. The lesser of the evils, basically.
That I cannot get a baked potato at any other fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
Now at the delis, like a McAllister's or a Jason's Deli, I can get stuff there. But if we're talking about it's 10 o'clock at night and you need to go home or you just got in from a flight or whatever, you need to make your best health choice. What can you get?
Mm-hmm. The options are slim. For health, convenience doesn't always work with health, with healthy. So the options are slim.
Right.
There's like you said, a baked potato at Wendy's. I can't think of too many other things besides like Chipotle, which they generally close early. But even Chipotle is iffy.
They're out of stuff. Yeah. They're out of stuff a lot, which I don't. I mean, it's tough.
Heather, if we can next week have Azim, the life-giving MC.
Bring him on.
He just came back.
Sounds like good.
Julius, you aren't familiar with him. He's part of Comrade Camp. He's also a Wu-Tang affiliate. He just came back from Chicago. He went to the National Black Farmers Convention. He actually owns a lot of acreage in Connecticut, and he farms. And
really?
He's very, very disciplined in the sciences of herbal remedies. He's been on the show with Heather, not this show, but the other thing we do. He's been on there like 2 or 3 times, but he's here pretty much almost every day recording. His name's the Life Giving MC. He actually was here earlier. He did come on camera last week, right, Heather, for a second? And said hello?
Yeah, he came on at the tail end last week, and I told him to come, that he could definitely come on back, come to the show.
Okay, that's where I heard the name. Yeah.
Yeah, the Life Giving MC, aka Azim Secure. He's very, very knowledgeable in natural healing remedies. Like, he's cured people's cancer. Like, he knows what he's doing. It's to the point where he doesn't even like to advertise his knowledge too much because you don't want to.
We all know why. We all know why. No, we know why. I mean, even with me thing, but you know what I mean. Say something because I'm trying to help the sickle cell. Nobody else is helping them. Nobody else is helping them.
He'll come next week, obviously. That's
you know what I mean? Yeah, he can always come on next week. But yeah, well, that's why that's the hashtag. I want everybody to start using that. And if you help somebody, if you show up and support, you use that hashtag. Show up for sickle cell. Because that's what we're doing. I want to show up. If you're well and you're able to support somebody and go to the hospital to visit them, that would mean a lot. If you're not well, or if they're not well for you to come see them, we're sending trying to send some care packages and things that they would need. In the wintertime, like things to keep you warm, and the summertime, things to keep you cool, like non-GMO popsicles and stuff like that you can put in the fridge. You see what I'm saying? Certain stuff like that's important. You don't think it is, but staying hydrated. You need to be able to, man, you need to grab something. You need, like, I would say switch to body armors from those Powerades in there because some of them have flame retardant in there. You do know that, don't they? Some of them have flame retardant in there. Some of them have flame retardant in them.
I didn't know they have flame retardant, no, but I know that they're iffy. They're just
it's called glycerol ester of rosin. Look it up. Glycerol ester of rosin. It's flame retardant, and they approved it to be used as food. But since they've recently passed the stuff for the dyes and the red 40s and all that, I'm hoping that they're going to be picking that out shortly. But you have to watch out for that. You also have to watch out that they put basically like antifreeze, propylene glycol. They put that in certain foods too, like salad dressings and others. There's a lot of foods that they put propylene glycol. And you know Miralax, the ethylene glycol.
The stuff that makes you
so
cleans out.
yes, propylene glycol is like the cousin of ethylene glycol, which is basically antifreeze, and they alter it and they're able to use that for a laxative.
Yeah,
they put it in.
You said propylene, right?
They put it in your lotion and stuff like that. So that's when you get like the lizard skin. If your lotion has got the got that in there, and you have to watch out. Yeah. It's like you start with, you're like, okay, it was kind of overwhelming because like, what do I do? Do I do my ketchup? Do I do this? I'm like trying to get something from the store, like, oh, we're gonna make burgers and salad or whatever. And then like saying, do I get the organic ketchup? I'm like, crap, what do I get? I'm like, oh my God, this is overwhelming. I was like, okay, this I was like, eventually we're gonna have everything switched over. I was like, but until I get this figured out, I'm gonna do the ones that are the most important. I was like, I'm gonna start with the Dirty Dozen. And then I'm going to start looking at, like, if I have certain condiments, I'm going to flip it over and see if it says GMO, we don't do that. If it says high fructose corn syrup, that was something that was already on my ban list already. And I was aware of the Dirty Dozen. I wasn't doing organic. So it was like I had to focus with the Dirty Dozen and then make sure it didn't have soybean oil, especially hydrogenated, and it didn't have any corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup. And you also have to watch out for the corn starch because most of that's not organic.
Yep.
No, it's really not. I did hear about.
If you had to cheat, the teaspoon of cornstarch is going to be probably less bad for you than the corn syrup and the hydrogenated oils. If you had to cheat, if there was no other option, then choose the one with the cornstarch, because there's going to be like that much. If you have to choose, hopefully you don't have to choose, but sometimes you do, because sometimes they don't have the healthy foods available. If you go to the neighborhood, they have certain fresh fruits and vegetables, and then the rest of the stuff is not healthy at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? All the jammers and all the you know what I'm saying? Like they call them fruit drinks, but there's no juice in them.
There's no juice. There's no.
Let's just say that.
So I'm from a food
desert. Just a bunch of random stuff. Yeah, I have seen that.
I'm from what's called a food desert. I don't live there now, but where I was born in the city that I come from is Hartford, Connecticut. It's a food desert. Now, not because there's no grocery stores, but the city of Hartford is divided by Black and Puerto Rican. On the south end is the Puerto Ricans. On the north end is the so-called Black people, Jamaicans, Nigerians, whatever. There has never been an actual grocery store in the north end of Hartford, Connecticut. So what you have is an overwhelming proportion of people that have sickle cell having crisis, of diabetic comas, infant death, because there is nowhere for you to really get actual good food. So you're living out of bodegas. So everything is processed, everything is freeze-dried.
Everything's fried, freeze-dried, all that processed food.
And so what happened a few years ago,
the snacky cakes and all that.
Yeah. What happened a few years ago was they wanted to bring a minor league professional baseball team to the north end of Hartford, Connecticut. And the way the town council was able to pass it was they said, we're going to build the first grocery store in the north end of Hartford. It's going to go great. Of course, they got the stadium. There's still not a grocery store in the north end of Hartford. So people are living out of bodegas. They're getting a chicken sandwich thinking they're eating protein. They might not even be eating chicken.
They might be getting people. I hate to tell you that. If you've seen the latest commercial, they might be getting people.
Well,
that's all I'll say.
Oh, wow.
Have you seen the new CFK? I'm saying it backwards. The new CFK commercial.
Yeah.
KFC. The new KFC commercial.
It just took me a second.
I'm not going to touch on it.
But anyways,
I haven't seen the commercial. Is it pretty bad?
The commercial's kind of bad.
I would
just
say
watch the commercial.
Okay. I would say that I have children and I don't want them to Dr. Sebi me.
That's it.
So, oh boy. So yeah, I mean that's it. And it's not even to try to be morbid and negative, but it's the fact of the matter that, like, you got to look at it like this, and this is just how I look at it anyway. Henry Ford, who came up with the assembly and these things, right? He wanted the car to be hydrogenated as opposed to methylated, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When a person has the proper solution to something, you say, okay, the powers that be, whoever they are. It's not conspiracy theory, whatever. There obviously is someone in control of this country, and obviously whether we like it or not, there is an unseen hand in everything. Whether it's a record going to #1 or a particular, that's why you always have the recall, right, with certain medications, where it's like we thought this was good for 9 years, but now if you've been a part of this, now we have a mass tort lawsuit, right? The unseen hand was the person that knew this was probably bad, but knew it was profitable. So when you know better, you do better. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of lost what my point was about the food, but oh well.
You were talking about how like it's all designed that way with the food. Well, you're talking about the bodega, how all they have is the bodega, and how that's really affecting people with sickle cell. But let me tell you what I would like to do. No matter if you have sickle cell, no matter where you live, and I definitely will have to start in the States because I have to start what's closest to me. But we'd like to make that available everywhere, since we have like DoorDash and Uber Eats or Grubhub. Those are the top 3 that I know of. I would love for them to reach out and make a partnership where we can make a healthy, we can make some kind of a plan where they can get like a membership, and then they can be able to get food delivered to them. You can get the grocery store and make sure that DoorDash is going to deliver from a grocery store, not the bodega, but the grocery store, whoever chain that is, where they can get fruits and vegetables, they can get fruit juice, they can get water, they can get the right kind of water. You know what I'm saying? Not tap water. They shouldn't be drinking tap water, but if you can't afford it, the truth be told, they're drinking tap water if they can't afford it. They need to be bottled. They need to have filtered water, optimally spring water. You know what I'm saying?
That last track I dropped in our private chat, Heather, it starts with the hashtag show up and show out for sickle cell, me and Life Giving. Julius, Life Giving C is also AKA Laser B, because we do this whole transformer thing where everybody has a transformer name. But
hey, that's what's up.
Okay, yeah, I have him open on SoundCloud right now. Life Giving MC as
very positive brother, man.
Do you want me to play that track?
If you want to, sure.
Yeah. Let's play the track. Let's play the track. We haven't played that much music tonight. It's been
Julius. I sometimes drop 15 or 20 songs in a day. All I do is record.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's got to be a hell of a record.
Wow, okay, before she plays the song, I'm gonna say this. I've said this before on Heather's podcast. I was going for the world, what do you call it, the Guinness World Book of Records, but find out it would not be financially prudent to do, because you have to pay them a per diem, so it's like $100 to $180 a day, and they can't stay with you. They have to come from the Guinness Institute in London. So
really,
yeah, you have to pay their travel, their hoteling, and then their per diem for food and fun expenses. So the thing is, I know, and anyone that is tuned in with me knows, I have over 7,000 songs. I'm nearing 8,000. Not even Bob Dylan. No one's close. I passed Jay-Z in 2006. He's only got about 350. I have thousands of songs and not remixes. So yeah.
That's interesting. That's a lot of music.
And I hope it's all good, because I hope I ain't put on no trash.
I haven't heard any songs that I didn't like yet. You know what I'm saying? If there's something be like, I'll pull you aside. I'd be like, yo, fix this little piece right here, and then it's dope. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely be like, but I haven't heard anything like that. I mean, like, I'm not gonna say every single song is like my favorite track ever, but I do like all songs that got like a good flow, a good vibe, and I be feeling them tracks. Yeah, that's what I can say. You know what I'm saying? I be feeling them tracks. I haven't heard a bad track from you yet. I can say that.
I would hope I never do put out a bad track. I was schooled in the arts by RZA himself, so I better be good.
Yeah, no, definitely. It'd be dope. Let me go ahead and share the screen. We'll go ahead and play the track.
All right, and I will have to get out of here in the next 15. But I'd like to hear this track. I'd like to.
Definitely. Let's play that, and then we could probably like kind of wrap it up after that. I really appreciate you coming on.
Right out. No, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on and being patient with me as I kind of opened up a little bit. Sometimes it takes me a minute to get used to trying to talk about myself or anything like that. So thank you so much for having me on with you guys.
Absolutely. I would love to have you.
Do you have his number or his info? So what we'll do,
I've got his Facebook, but make sure you drop your phone number and everything in the on my Facebook, and I'll have mine in there, and then
what we'll do, Heather, is we'll use him as a testimonial in the government grant that my wife's going to write for you for the nonprofit. will use him as a testimonial to
Yeah.
your work and your
That's
service.
cool.
Yeah, my wife used to write grants for the government, so she knows how to do it. She no longer works for the government, but we still can get busy as far as writing.
Oh, so she used to work for the government, and then
Yeah,
that literally was her job,
for
was to
501(c)(3)
review grants, approve them, write them. That was her job.
So that's what I'm working on, that 501(c), the nonprofit / foundation for that, and I'm looking to get grants for that because there's a lot of things I'm looking to do with that. Besides that, I'm also looking to pair with Uber and or Lyft to have ride shares, because a lot of times with sickle cell, let me switch back over here for a second. Well, I can leave it there. A lot of times with sickle cell, when you're too sick, either before or after the crisis, to go to the grocery store, go to the doctor's office, get your medication and stuff like that, or to cook a meal. So you need to have meals, stuff running from the grocery store, meals, or you're needing to get that transportation to where you need to go to get those services. And so that's something that we definitely need to work on, because people don't have the money and they don't have the access. And with sickle cell, you definitely don't have the money. People lose their jobs. They can't attend work or school. You're trying to live or what people would consider a regular life, and you can barely get through the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You know,
Julius, we're gonna use you as a not in a bad way. We will use you as a reference and a testimonial in the government.
No, I got what you were saying.
To say that you participated. You participated in a nonprofit podcast dealing with mental health / sickle cell, and so I'm gonna need your information, and I'll have her write that into it once we organize it, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll shoot it to Heather.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's
awesome. All right. Well, right now we're gonna go ahead and play Prime and Stay the Week on the Pat Production Cypher 360. Let's go.
Let's get it.
You know who it is.
The Rhythm Gang.
Come on. Study the Dharma. Good karma's my armor. On beats, I go Unabomber. Detonate any Boo Scouts honor. I promise, all garbage gets compacted. Rapping, I'm young, not snapping. Acting like you the one. My rhyme non takes weight away. Reduce you bums to washed up status. Acting fool for crumbs. Slums to middle America. We'll tell you, Prime Omega's a cipher terror, bruh. When the gods slide through, clear the area. Rhyme hollows, lead drape, decorate your body's total interior. If not roll with me, you inferior. If not kill a bee or comrade, I'll bury ya. Mountains and notebooks, made billboard without zesty rapping, no hooks. More bars than whoever go look it up. Kids might got fame, but these dudes suck. That's a fact, literal, actual. Been have the juice factory, Snapple flow. Self-esteem shatter foes. Glad I chose the non-sellout role. Freedom flows for imprisoned minds, we build out those. Explosive like the greatest story never told. Prime Omega.
I like that. You got a good flow, man.
The mind elevation, my rhymes are Ayurveda, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, balance well by conversation. I'm tri-dosage, health in the wind, it's at a high dosage. Symbolism out the mud like a fly lotus, Skywalker, one with the force, manipulated matter and data, path of the ancients, catch it with the path of the paper, tacit the flavors, to tap into magnetic changes, not just about taste, electromagnetic radiation, I exist beyond dimensions, and God's cognition, selected the prep delectable rhymes like a 5-star kitchen. You see the light off in the distance when I start hitting and cool you off like winter frost. When I start spitting living words to balance out the mind, body, and spirit. That's on my rhymes, cause it's always positive when you hear it. A shaman on mics, medicine man with a pad and pen, like giving them C. I'm back at it again.
So the second part was you. That is nice.
No, I was first.
Oh, you were first.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff.
The second guy was life-giving MC.
Really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, got you. Well, that's fire, man. I like it.
Thank you.
And I usually don't say that's fire because I don't think it sounds good coming from me. But that was fire. Real talk. Great job on it. I don't really go to SoundCloud much, but you are where else are you at?
Okay. So the thing is I have 2 accounts. So I'm Suprema Law. You can look up like Suprema Law Topic on YouTube or any other place, Suprema Law. But my full name is Suprema Law Magnetic. I have 2 accounts. And the thing is everything you're gonna hear on YouTube / Spotify is totally different than what's on SoundCloud.
Okay, got you.
So I have like 500 something songs on SoundCloud, but I have thousands on Spotify / YouTube.
Okay, got you. Supreme Allah topic. The 176 subscribers. 100.
I don't even know. I don't ever look at it.
I don't think too many people look at their subscribers on YouTube. I think they just kind of grab them over time and it grows.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Yes.
Be help filled. Okay, gotcha.
No, don't deal with see you soon. But yes, Suprema Law 176 subscribe. That is me. Go. And then also Suprema Law Magnetic topic is me on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay, got you.
The Be Held Filled, 20% of all stream revenue from that goes to charity to feed homeless kids.
Okay. That's awesome, man. So okay, yeah, got you.
Thank you, man.
I'm gonna make it where you can submit songs probably next time, Jay Kennedy. We're definitely getting into like the health with the mental health and the sickle cell health. We were definitely in on that this week. But definitely stay tuned next week, and we definitely can get some songs and stuff like that played. We do the music and stuff like that. We got Kaiju X. We shout out to Kaiju. Keep grinding and show the love. Appreciate you, man. Then we got Comrade Campfire 2.
That's me.
No, yeah, I see you. We got the Bam Fam, Buffalo in the building. All right, Buffalo, New York. That's what's up. I'm a Buffalo native.
Heather, if you could drop my YouTube because it's not letting me comment. I'm not YouTube. My email in the chat because it's not letting me comment on the StreamYard chat.
Yeah. Okay.
But I've been commenting on the YouTube side, but people aren't seeing that because they're not on YouTube.
Okay.
So what I do, Julius, is I go live on StreamYard and YouTube. So like my YouTube fans are watching this at the same time, but y'all can't see that.
You want me to put it in the private chat?
I got you.
Sorry, sis. What you say?
There it is. There it goes.
Yeah, everyone, please send me your songs. I'll listen to them.
Yeah. Oh, do you want me to put it in the regular chat?
Yes, ma'am. I tried to, and it wouldn't let me.
Okay, I'll put it in the regular comments, and I should have put my email there too. I actually have mine on a banner. Hold on.
Oh no, Trill got it. He did it. It's in there.
Okay. And there's that one, and then we can put yours in there. Hold on. I put yours in there too. So we've got yours. Hold on. We got yours. There goes Supremes.
Chris put it in too. Thank you, Chris.
Put it in there. And then that's my email, and I also put that in the comments as well. But we want to make sure that we reach out to everybody. We thank everybody that's over here supporting on the show. Everybody's in the comments, whatever platform that you're watching for, and we really appreciate you. This is the Heather Marie Show. We definitely taking music, mental health, and sickle cell. We definitely taking all that serious over here. You can catch us every week over here on Thursday, starting at 6 p.m. Central Time. That's also 7 o'clock on Eastern, or if you're in the Pacific Coast, that's 4 p.m. It was a great show. Thank you all so much for coming on today. I definitely want to give you guys a round of applause because, you know what I'm saying, it wouldn't be a show without you guys, honestly, like that. Here you go. Yeah, you got it. We would love to have you back on here sometime again, Julius. Let us know what projects you're working on, and then we're going to be working with you on some sickle cell stuff. So I'm definitely excited about that. That's what we're here for. We want to raise awareness for not just the kids, but also the adults, because they're the ones that get stepped on, looked over, kicked on, and everything else the most. We want to stop discrimination and let people know that sickle cell is a real serious disease, and that no two people have it the same. You may see them fine one day, and the next minute they're not okay, and they really need help. It's a real serious medical condition, and when they have a pain crisis, it's called a vaso-occlusive crisis. People will call it a pain crisis, but with that vaso-occlusive crisis, you're getting pain from cell tissue death and lack of oxygen. It is not a joke, and they're not to be turned away and turned home thinking that they can tough it out at the house. Okay, that's what we'll say. Thank you so much for tuning in. And with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and take it out in the show. Thank y'all for coming.
Out.
Peace.
Yep,
Thank you for having me.
Peace, Julius. Nice meeting you, man.
Nice to meet you too, sir.
Thank y'all for coming.